Hi, folks.
Hello.
Welcome to another installment of Alexis Attempts Art. Today, with the illustrious Matthew Foreman, the magnificent, the effervescent.
That's me.
As always, remember our friends at Animal Helper before we get started here. Just want to remind you all, select Animal Helper as your charity of choice. Animal Helper New Orleans is your charity of choice for Amazon.smile when you're shopping through Amazon. And follow them on Facebook, repost all their stuff, tweet them out, because just getting the word out on what they need is important. They help a lot of animals, and they're still recovering from all of the animals that they rescued from an animal hoarder. They need a lot of help. Do you have anything to add to that?
No,
my brain's a little scattered right now.
That's the gist.
It's been a week. It's been a few weeks in a row.
Find out how you can help by going to their Facebook and reading their posts.
That's right. Let us know in chat how music levels are and all that good stuff. I tried getting the camera a little closer this time. And I'm just gonna continue working on this coaster. And we're gonna chat and hang.
Oh, so glad I had my coffee.
Yeah.
A little sleepy this afternoon.
Yeah, I had a slow start today.
But a slow week. Oh, I'm gonna put it down here actually. But a
There you
slow week for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I didn't have to run Ghost in the Machine. That freed up a lot of my time.
Hell yeah, right?
It was nice. That was a break I desperately needed.
I believe it.
I would have liked the break to come after we finished this arc, but oh well.
Right. That would have been nice, but instead, we'll take a break in the middle of the most dramatic moments in the entire history of the show so far.
A little bit.
Oh my gosh. It's nice that you've had a slow week, though.
Yeah. It's nice. I knew, again, much needed. Taking.
Yeah.
Be some work this weekend. Getting everything ready. Gonna be on that talk show. I'm gonna be on So Chatty with Maddie on Saturday.
Yeah, that
Maddie's
should be exciting.
Maddie is a Soul Bear guy. He's also in Twin Cities, Emerald Twin Cities, I believe it's called. It's the Seattle-based Vampire the Masquerade night campaign. I mean, I guess they're all night campaigns, aren't they? But Twin City, I think, not Twin, I keep saying Twin City. Emerald City by night.
There you go.
Twin Emerald City.
Twin Cities are somewhere else.
Somewhere else indeed.
Completely different state. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I'm going to be on his chat show. And then we're actually playing a Retroverse one-shot afterwards.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, I'm going to play a gnome wizard who's like a scribe gnome from Eberron, and I'm flavoring it as like a hacker. Because like with just a little bit of flavoring, they really make good hackers.
Cool.
So he's going to have like bubblegum pink hair and, just be a total punk rock hacker. His shirt's going to say Hack the Planet on it, that whole bit.
This is my surprise face, folks.
Hack the planet!
Yeah, I'm very surprised by that.
I can't wait. The old gnome hacker trope.
Seen it 1,000 times.
It kind of is a trope.
It's definitely a trope when it comes to you.
Yep.
It's like, yes, where's the wizard option?
Correct. Although I will say now, having played that lore bard, man. Woo.
I'm telling you, Bard is where
wizards.
it is.
Those are the wizards of the Bard world.
They are. It is me going down and going at Bard. I'm going, where's the wizard option of Bard?
Lore bards are pretty great. There's a reason they're so
So
popular.
great. So great.
To me, for what I like, it's a tough choice between that and Whispers, and then like Glamour is a third.
Glamour's so good.
Sword and Valor are actually really strong and really well designed, but they just don't do it for me. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like, it's personal preference.
Yeah. They're actually very strong. Oh, hey, Dwarf Cricket. Hi.
Hey.
It's hard to see chat from back here.
Yeah. Do you wanna move it closer to you?
Like throw it up on there?
No, I can't. I don't know how to throw it up on there. I mean, we could.
No, that's okay. I just gotta look for it. How are you, Emma?
Yee. I'm gonna do a half heart hand. No, I'm gonna do a
one
whole.
with coffee.
Here we go.
This is a heart hand with coffee. Can you tell?
I like how we're both going.
I picked it on purpose.
I know you did. I left it. I made sure it was clean today on purpose. Like.
Cheers to being crazy.
Yeah.
It's Alice in Wonderland themed.
Oh, yes.
Folks. I got the Cheshire Cat here.
And I've got the Cheshire Cat, but I also have Alice and the white hair.
Yeah, it is Friday. I get off early on Fridays from work. It's the best.
I do all my work from home.
Oh, thank
Great.
you for stopping by and saying hi.
Aw, yeah.
What's the game in 10 minutes? If you don't mind telling us.
What am I gonna do here? Tell us about your game. We want to live vicariously through you. I think this is getting worse.
Yeah, that's why I worry about it.
I'm gonna have to, like, resolder the connection or something because it's bothering me. I don't know how to get anything done. I know what I'm gonna do. You just crank this. I'm gonna darken up the wood around it.
Back?
Homebrew D&D. Oh,
Backwad?
B Squad.
Oh, B Squad.
B Squad game. Okay. Alright. Been hired by a shady goblin to clear out some old ruins.
Nice.
Fun.
Nice. This sounds fun.
Very fun.
Nothing quite like some homebrew D&D.
Yeah. Matt wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
She says it's a total sandbox shit show.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I know the feeling.
What do you think Ghost in the Machine is?
Oh.
Total sandbox shit show.
Right. Yeah. We have a little bit of that dynamic. Our Ghost in the Machine is it can be very serious and dramatic and all that. And then kind of when we play the one-shots and stuff, we tend to kind of cut loose and
Correct.
stuff. We like to have fun in Ghost in the Machine too, but it can be very dramatic and serious a lot of the time. It's like
That's right.
It's like a soap opera. So.
It basically is, yeah.
And then our home game, we have trouble. We have trouble taking it seriously some days.
Even though we should.
It's very good. It's very fun, and it requires. And we're getting to serious, high-level stuff, but
Yeah.
we're all so serious and stuff in the Ghost in the Machine and trying so hard that it's.
Then
nice.
I'm like, I did all my crying on Wednesday. What do you want?
Right. There's only so much to go around. Emotional labor.
That's right.
I like that. I like how silly our one-shots always are.
It's so great. Oh my gosh. This one was just.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I actually remember it wasn't. See, Modern Age was Modern Age our first one-shot, or did Tal'Dorei come before Modern Age?
Modern Age was the day before Tal'Dorei.
That's right. So I remember the adjustment period when I ran Tal'Dorei, not Tal'Dorei, Modern Age, because people were looking at me like, "What is this?" I'm like, guys, not everything has to be so serious.
Yeah.
And I remember the weirdness in the room and how I literally turned to Chase on stream and was like,
Yeah.
I was like, it's a one shot, guys. It's time to have fun. Ghost in the Machine should be fun too, but it doesn't all have to be the deep memes.
It's a different kind of fun.
Yeah. It's not all, it's like we're just here to cut loose tonight.
Correct.
And so that was a big lesson for the team, I felt. It's kind of setting the tone. Bye. Thank you for stopping by.
Love you.
But yeah, I felt like that was a huge shift in our on the way we conceived of things, because it was like the modern age was pure silliness.
It was great.
It's like
I loved it so much.
I didn't have much time to prepare, nor was I ever gonna try. Like, I was already pretty tired.
Right. I didn't have time to like
And I just started
flesh
work.
out this whole character or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I was just like, I'm just gonna be a disaster wizard. It's fine.
Yeah. And I remember I was like, what is this? And it's like, we're playing a game, remember? That kind of set the tone for our one-shots moving forward. That, and then my reprisal as Duke. Not my reprisal, my introduction as Duke.
Right. I was also really sick when we did the Modern Age one-shot.
And I had just started my new job,
right.
so I had no
So we were like...
I had no bandwidth.
We were running on empty, man.
Yes. I had just started a new job and fucking was going through a whirlwind, so none of us had any time or energy, but we wanted to make content.
Correct.
So it was like, guys, it's just time to cut loose and have fun.
Right.
And
we were down 2 people, so it's not like we
Yes.
could be the ones backing out.
Right. Ty showed up and Sean
was
showed
great.
up for that one shot.
And Carl.
Yes, that's right. Was he in Modern Age?
He was in Modern Age, but he didn't show up for, he couldn't make it for Tal'Dorei.
He's in Tal'Dorei. He couldn't show up for Modern Age.
Backwards. I only had 4 players. You had 5.
Oh, the carnival one is the one where
Yep.
he played the sorcerer.
Carl did.
Yeah.
Sean didn't show up.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about Carl. in my
Okay, yeah,
head,
Carl
even
showed
though I
up to
said
both.
Sean.
Carl was at both.
Yeah,
I
Carl was
remember
at both,
because my character
Yes.
was
Sean
all
was not
like...
in Tal'Dorei. I had switched to Carl without
That's
saying
right. Sorry. I should be used to that enough with Chase that I should have just anticipated, but here we are.
Well,
I don't have mind reading turned on right now.
It's prepositions, you know what I mean?
Yep,
Like,
correct.
Yeah.
Prepositions,
pronouns.
transitions, pronouns, all these things.
You say he.
Antecedents to your pronouns, people.
That's right. So, yeah, those
Me
were
just
the
over here
days.
being a
It was
grammar
only,
nerd.
what, 6 months ago? Those were the days.
Yeah, it's crazy. It simultaneously feels like yesterday and forever ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it does, yeah. But yeah, it's fun to cut loose. It's like, this is about having fun. It's important to temper the stuff with the drama and the emotion with the slapstick.
Right. I decided I want this background darker.
It's coming along nicely.
Thank you.
I like the burnt aesthetic it's getting, like the
Yeah.
shadowing, I guess, is what that is.
Mm-hmm. Emma's so great.
She is pretty great. Really like all the people that have come into our lives since we started doing stuff on variant roles.
Yeah, it's so nice. I had a lot of anxiety about like getting myself on the internet, you know?
Yeah, me too. I think about that a lot. It's like, man, a year ago I couldn't have, a year ago I did, but a little bit more than a year ago, 2 years ago, I couldn't have been on the internet doing things, like actually doing things that are like open for interpretation, criticism, etc. And now I'm like,
and having a Twitter presence and all that stuff.
yeah.
God.
Because I had done it somewhat in Heroes of the Storm, but I was mostly just like a fan. I wasn't really creating things. I was just there for people. I just supported people and
Right,
networked.
right.
But D&D, I actually make things, and that's a whole nother ball game. But now I don't even bat an eye. I'm like, what can I make next?
Right.
So
As long as I've got the energy, that's where I'm thinking too.
my only regret is I didn't start doing this 5-6 years ago.
Right,
Hey, Kyle.
me too. Hey!
Hey, buddy.
You just missed Emma, unfortunately.
Yeah.
She was a bright ray of sunshine very early on. We are happy to have you, Kyle.
Right back at you, buddy.
Aww. Here, help me with heart hand. What is this? What is this? We tried. At least I tried. I don't know what this was. Cheers. Cheers to Kyle coming in. Hey.
Cheers.
Beep. 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 Beep.
We were just talking about how wonderful the people that we met on variant roles are.
It's true. It's
My
true, and
Matt
then Kyle showed
impression. Oh no, you for Crawford? I bet
Yes!
you are.
You need to. Oh my god.
We're
I'm
working on a. Well, he's working on. I'm not doing anything. He's working on a one shot for the Goners.
I'm so excited. Is that gonna get streamed? Or is that just gonna
Yeah,
be...
no, it's gonna get streamed.
Oh, good, good.
On Variant Rolls.
I need that in my life.
A little soft.
Oh, Crawford.
God, I figured Crawford would make an appearance.
I called it while you were dying. I was like, well, Vampire Crawford is gonna be a thing now.
That's pretty terrifying, actually.
I was talking about it in chat.
Shadow Sorcerer Vampire is gonna be pretty terrifying to deal with.
Correct.
I don't know if Perkins is up to the task, but he's gonna try.
Oh boy. I need to find some time to add some more tracks to my playlist and refine it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% happy with the music I've got going on.
I feel you, man.
I am working on this coaster. I realized it wasn't completely in frame. I'm sorry.
I was gonna about to say that, yeah. It is a coaster.
It is a coaster. And this is the logo for our Wednesday show, The Ghost in the Machine, which I designed. And now I'm turning it into a coaster, burning it onto some wood. I just have the picture up here for reference of what this should look like. Maybe, eventually. I'm also trying to figure out whether or not I'm going to try to add color to it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. How is that done? Do you paint it?
You could paint it, or I have some wood stains that are colored. I could mix up a red and stain that.
That would be pretty dope.
Thank you, Kyle. I am making efforts. That's for sure. All right. I'm not getting heat through again. I need to get this wood burning situation sorted.
Yeah. Kind of helps for a wood burning stream.
It does. I didn't realize how frustrating it was until I started streaming trying to do it. It's like, oh, I didn't realize how much of this crap I just dealt with. It's different because I can actually hear the current going through when it's quiet in the room, but... more or less. It's the same concept, basically, as a soldering iron. You just have a different tip at the end, effectively. So, speaking of soldering, I'm probably going to try to take this area apart and try to resolder the connection myself. Is something that I might try to do. We'll see.
Yes, quite. I don't know what any of those things are.
So how are you doing, Kyle?
This is the old Shadowrun theme.
Nice. There you go. It's good to be home, right?
You're headed our way next, I reckon.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Oh, no. I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better, though.
Oh, okay, yeah. Feeling a little rough there?
And also sad that you're not coming to our area. We are sad. Sad about it. Had it with you.
I need all the coffee in the world, actually.
You need to go make another cup.
Ghost in the Machine didn't end?
Yeah, we have both Tuesday and Wednesday shows. We just had a one-shot this past Wednesday, just the other day, because it's been a lot, and Matt needed a minute to recuperate.
Yeah, I just took a week off. Ghost of
Yeah.
the Machine comes back this upcoming Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central, for Becoming Part 3.
Yep, we're just adding new content.
Yeah. No, yeah, we just added Dragon Heisters. I'm playing in Dragon Heisters once a week and running Ghost of the Machine.
And I am playing in Ghost in the Machine, but I am co-DMing Dragon Heisters.
Yeah.
So I'll be picking up the DM baton this coming Tuesday.
We're level 2. We're level 2 in Dragon Heisters, and Alexis is going to DM. So they're doing chapters. There's 5 chapters. So Alexis has chapters 2 and 4. Ty, I guess, has 1, 3, and 5.
We're
Roughly?
kind of figuring it out. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But
that's roughly it.
Roughly.
Yeah. No, I don't know why you thought that.
Maybe because there was a lot of drama and a lot of crying.
Yeah, there was a lot of drama and a lot of crying, but that's just
the Ghost of the Machine
yeah.
these days.
It's nearing the end of I would call this like the end of like part 1 that's coming up, but there's probably 2 or 3 more.
Yeah,
there's
like
part
arcs.
2 and 3 and 4, I would say, like overarching plots. This is like the end of their first.
It's like in the first campaign of Critical Role, where Vox Machina ended the Briarwood arc.
Yeah.
And then they moved on, and it was the Chroma Conclave next.
Yeah. This is.
I don't know what's coming next, but this is basically the end of our first little like Briarwood arc.
Yeah. What did you say? Oh yeah, I was doing the dark humor thing. I was probably joking.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. Ghost of the Machine continues on.
I think he was joking that it would be the end because we would all die.
Yeah, there was a lot of those jokes flying around.
Because
the fight that goes.
we still might.
Yeah, the fight's not over yet. We left off in the middle of a fight. Pretty big one. With a lot of the moving parts, so.
Right, so while it isn't over yet, it might be over soon.
It'd be awkward, but.
It would be awkward.
The idea is the Ghost of the Machine is going to go on for 100 plus episodes.
Hey Nat, how's it going?
Hey Nat. I mean, if there's no way of knowing depending on what happens,
So
but the idea is they're going to go to level 18 or 20 kind of thing. And then so it's going to go on for a long time.
Unless we all die all at once in a TPK. And
Yep.
if that happens, it's going to get real awkward. And we're just going to have to figure out what's next. Droska!
Yeah.
We're all full of favorite internet people over here, aren't we?
Love it. Love seeing you guys. We have a nice little family, extended RP D&D family between Dice Priority and Variant Rules.
Yes, we do. It is very nice. Man, I had a good solid burn going, and now...
Why? Alexis fiddles
Attempts
around
are-
with a burning thing.
Yeah, it's driving me insane.
I mean, it's only going to degrade.
Correct. It used to, it used to be better.
It is a big huggy family.
Oh, it would be so much fun to do a game with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of free time to play in games. I just need to know about them. Alexis has less free time because she has family that she cares about. I do not. I'm not shouldered with such a burden. Or the family that I do care about is far away, so.
Right, not close enough for you to make a monthly or weekly obligation for.
Correct. So, I have lots of free time if anyone ever wants me to come on and play on their game.
Kyle says it feels like an MMO guild. Yeah.
Right, yeah. It is a bit like that. It kind of is like an MMO guild. I was part of one for a long time.
I have never been one.
My guild.
I just never let myself play things like WoW because I just didn't want to get sucked into it
My guild was hardcore. We were almost like sponsored. Like we were. I wouldn't say we weren't professionals, but we were close at one point in time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had.
Very nice.
We had like a world's first hard mode and stuff like that.
Wow.
Not world's first, sorry, server first. And yeah, on Sargeras, so it does feel kind of. I actually think about that a lot, like DMing and networking and like playing with other channels and stuff. It feels a lot like it used to when I used to play World of Warcraft. It actually feels a lot like that because it's like a grind and like you see your results, like and it's fun and you get to network and meet new people. It feels a lot like my old WoW days. I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are life feeders. That's the best part. I think that's why I love D&D, and more importantly, not just D&D, but streaming D&D.
Yes.
Like for me, home games don't really do it anymore. I think of them and I'm like, you know, I don't want to let this term be an actual thing, but I'm like, I call them normie games in my head. But that's obviously has the potential to be very toxic.
Normie games?
Normie games are non-streamed games.
Oh my god,
Non-streamed
Matthew. What is this?
tabletop games are normie games. It's like, why aren't you streaming it? So like when people invite me to non-stream stuff, I'm like, it doesn't really do it for me.
Can't it just be streamed?
Yeah, can't we just stream it?
Well, you got Kyle and Matt on that one.
I'm terrible. I'm a
You really
terrible
are.
person.
Oh.
I'm terrible. There's
So
a reason
terrible.
I haven't tweeted that term out.
Okay, here. I have an idea.
I'm gonna get-
I have an idea. I need to run this by Dan or something. I want to see if we can manage to run like... This would be insane. I don't think it would work. But some sort of the Alex and Alex adjacent squad and the Matt and Matt adjacent squad. And like pit them against each other in some fashion, like in a battle royale sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of D&D PvP. There was an attempt a while back for some official D&D PvP leagues, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to do it often or anything. Maybe like once.
Nat says I do like the amount of commitment stream games cause from the table, and I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure thing, Kyle. He's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, it's the stakes are so much higher. Like, you get to make people laugh. Like, it's just,
Right.
It's the best.
This is still cold.
It's seriously the best. Again, normie games don't do it for me anymore.
I love that you
I think
call
I talked
it that.
about
It's
this
the worst.
last time I was
you
on
are.
this show.
Why are you like this?
I'm a terrible person.
You are. It's like, yeah, we could do that, but why don't we stream it?
Right. So, but yeah, if anyone ever wants me on their streamed game, I don't do normie bullshit. Invite me. I'll come. Usually, if I have time.
You're not gonna add yourself into more non-streamed games.
I mean, definitely not anything more than like a one shot. If it was with people that like I knew, you know what I mean, and like we were just kind of wanting to break from it all, sure. But other than that, nah. Normie games got it's a term now. Let's not.
You're the one. You've done this. You can't like drop that on the internet and then say, "Oh no, I want to take this back."
I keep thinking about
The
tweeting.
internet. There are no takebacks on the internet.
I know. I'm gonna tweet it out later.
You are. You're gonna act like you are embarrassed by it, but you're going to be secretly not even secretly.
Yeah.
Not even secretly. You're just gonna barely be able to keep the glee off of your face.
I'm just shaping the discourse. Normie games, cum gutters, that kind of thing.
The discourse? Can't put the words discourse and cum gutters in the same sentence and expect anybody to take you seriously.
Yet they do.
No. I don't think that's what's happening.
They do.
We take your humor seriously. Oh my god. Cum gutters.
These are my contributions to D&D and tabletop gaming.
You are ridiculous, Matthew. I don't know if I even have any heat coming through this anymore at all. I'm trying to listen for the current.
Yeah, that is kind of true, Nat. Although, like, I will say though, like, I've seen
What do you say?
that. So what Nat is saying is, we should actually be better about reading these out.
Yeah.
My issue with streams is you can't just play a normal hardcover module. You got to do something unique or different. You can't just kind of do it. That is true, but I also do think that, like, even if you're just playing the module, to me, I think that's actually even better than if you're a nobody trying to do homebrew. And I'm speaking from experience. Like, I feel like when you're running a module, people have this collective buy-in to your stream already, and they've been through like what you've been through. Like, we just started Dragon Heisters, and like the people who are active in chat are all people who have played through Dragon Heist before.
Right.
So, it is true though. Like, if you always gotta have a spin on it, right? It's entertainment, isn't it? But
Yeah.
that's just the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, people like triteness, and they like. No, I don't want to use the term creativity, but triteness.
Triteness.
Yeah. So I do think that like hardcover modules are actually a really good place to start. I feel like they do better than rando homebrew, but I think the ceiling on them is much lower. That's just my own thoughts.
I'm not feeling any heat.
No heat. It's not so much a wood burning stream, it's just a wood stream.
Apparently. Oh, here we go.
It's woodography.
Woodography.
Just rub the use friction. Use friction to burn. It's off frame, by the way.
Thank you.
No problem. But it's good to take a hardcover module and put your own spin on it. I really, really, really want to. It's so passé, but I really want to run Lost Mines of Phandelver because I think I have a very interesting take on it. But gotta find time, people, commitments, yada yada
That's
yada.
right. That's right.
So maybe one day.
Man, I was making such good progress.
Welcome back, Kyle.
Hello again.
I think I put too much rum chata in my coffee.
Is there such a thing? Is too much rum chata in your coffee?
I'm feeling it a little.
And?
Probably just didn't eat enough today.
Yeah, well. I'm sticking around for dinner, so no big deal, right?
That's
Soak
right.
it up with the pasta.
That's right. Open table games? Yeah, kind of like a West March kind of thing, or what have you. There's something to be said about drop in, drop out, episodic, small content, because it gets people, like it's easier to get those things going. It's harder for people to make long-term commitments. Very thankful that Ghost in the Machine has 5, including myself. I'm not that committed. No, 5.
I thought you were going to say 5 committed players.
Yeah.
I was like, who's the 5th?
5 committed people showing up every week. It allows our channel to kind of have a consistent content schedule, and then we kind of patch in anything else.
Yeah.
Well, I've been going off frame myself.
Just a disembodied voice. Alexis and a disembodied voice attempt art and chat with you.
That's right.
I can't see it for right now. I'm trying to get this to work again.
My theory is that Nat says my theory is the future of streaming is episodic sessions of direction TV. I actually agree with that. I actually like the idea of having not necessarily like planning, but basically more narrative episodic methods to how we play D&D.
Kyle says you're probably right at Nat.
And this idea, like in my mind, like the way it would work is like, okay, guys, I want to produce, like let's say Dice Prior, like, okay, guys, I want to produce a show that's about trauma and existential, basically Annihilation the movie, but it's not Annihilation the movie. And it's like, okay, and this is the setting, and this is the kind of thing. And then the actors, as they are players, workshop their character based on a concept and a narrative contribution.
Right.
Rather than on mechanics, race, backstory, personal preference, etc., etc., etc. That they say, okay, well, my character is going to be about, so like to use the movie Annihilation as an example.
Right.
My character, I picture her coming to terms with her own destruction, and
right.
Being and maybe not even plotting their end, but more so like thinking of their character in those terms. Like I think my character is working towards that idea. And then the interplays and everything that folds out from that game is very authentic and just kind of happens. But I do think the future of D&D and streaming is more episodic. And streaming looks at it as like, we're not showing up to play a game, we're showing up to tell a mechanically, procedurally generated story.
Right.
A story told through numbers and a bit of randomness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should just switch this to just chatting at this point, I think. Like, what is this? I can't art. It's broken.
No one can tell the difference. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't ever stop becoming a game. It's still a game, but the idea being that we buy into the idea that we are constructing a narrative collectively. And you can do that through mechanics too, but players, I feel like, should come to the idea of like, I'm showing up to play D&D, but since I'm showing up to stream D&D, this is how I have to conceive, or this is a kind of framework. That's what I think is the future of D&D streaming.
Yeah.
And I think that's very much what you're seeing in campaign 2. It's not that they planned it, but that they are all in Critical Role. Like, they all have a hard agenda this time around.
Yeah.
In terms of what their characters are developing, the narratives that they're writing, and things like that. Each one of them has this massive backstory fleshed out, except for Taliesin, because that's the anchor, right?
Yeah.
It's the contrast. But it's like they all have these big narratives and all these meanings and all these intersecting metaphors. And that's not the same thing as planning out what's going to happen in game. But it's a framework where they're trying to tell a story together. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. To me, absolutely. I mean, we talked a lot about Gilly and what she would bring to the story before we even started Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah.
And we weren't even planning on streaming it at that point.
One-shots can be really tough. We run them, so I don't think they're more work than a long-term campaign personally, but they're definitely tough. That's why we always kind of go more silly on ours, because it takes a lot of pressure off of everyone.
Right, exactly.
And it ends up being pretty entertaining in the end. Cast member bothers me for the games I'm playing in. Yeah, well, to me, if you're streaming your game, you are a cast member. And in my mind, we're all showing up to play a game, but if we're talking about how the genre will mature in terms of competing and growing, I mean, we see what the best of the shows do. The best shows, the best and the most popular shows are all basically
to the touch.
It's cold to the touch.
God damn it.
Are basically acting entertainment professionals playing D&D and using all those skills they bring to the table to tell that kind of story.
Right.
Hello, Snake Doc.
Oh, hey. Could you read it out? Do you mind?
Yeah, Snake Doc says, hi again. And by the way, thank you for joining.
Yes,
I've
thank you.
had games where another player and I would, you know what I need? My glasses. Another player and I, oh god, it's so much better, would have discussions about when one of us would find out about X, Y, or Z story element, and by the time the characters went through it, it would still turn out differently. So you can discuss story elements, thank you, but they still change in the moment. That's, yeah, I wonder about that. I feel like when you are streaming the game, you have more of a responsibility to have side conversations. Again, not necessarily planning. Planning, I think, to me is like, I'm going to do X and then you do Y, and we're committed to it regardless of the circumstances.
Right, right.
I think that's what I think of, I should say, when I think of planning.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, talking about having a meta-narrative discussion, like, this is kind of where I am with it, this is where you are,
Right.
well, this is how my character would feel about it, can be helpful.
Like when Gilly ended up multiclassing into
Yes.
Warlock, we talked about that a lot. And we talked about, you know, whether or not I would want to multi-class and, you know, how that would work narratively. And we ultimately ended up saying that I was only going to multi-class if narratively it made sense.
Yes.
And I would decide based on the narrative how it was going to go.
Right. But it was an expressed preference. She said, I would like the option, essentially. At
Yeah,
least that
I
was
had
my
been thinking
understanding.
about it, and a little dip into Warlock would have been neat character-wise, like, because you still want to play the mechanics that you like, you know. You still want to play. There's the character idea, and then there's also like the aspect of we're still playing D&D, and we want to play a wizard, or we want to play a, you know, whatever. So it's a matter of balancing those two things and skipping this song.
Yeah, the weird talky one.
I need to take it out of the playlist. Like I said, I need to refine this a bit more.
And so what was interesting about that? So prior to that discussion, that explicit discussion, I already had the idea of Morgan in my head.
Right.
And she was a character that I used in a previous, way long ago game, and I had kind of been molding her, and I was trying to decide where to put her. And then once Alexis and I had that conversation, I didn't look at her and say, okay, Morgan's going to be at this cafe, and she's going to be in on this thing, and then you're going to be the patron. That's not how it happened.
No, not at all.
I used that information to shift Morgan in an interesting way, or at least attempting to be interesting.
Oh my god.
And, you know, here we are.
Floored me with that. I had no idea that's what you were going to do with any of that. That's the other thing, like, you just took my very limited backstory and ran with it.
Well, so Technoscout said there's always been a sort of tension between this idea of RPG is improv and RPG is game. Absolutely. I think that again, if this is not about playing at home, this is about streaming your game and what that means in the entertainment, how that might change. And I think like these are considerations probably good for home games too, but definitely for stream games.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're learning a lot.
We are.
Especially when you're not a professional actor with 15 and 20 years of experience.
Correct.
You need a little help.
Yes.
You need some side conversations.
That's right.
For about 20 episodes, I was pretty tight-lipped with my cast because I didn't want the meta to interfere with their in-game choices. But then I realized that they were wandering in the dark a little bit, and we all kind of started wandering in the dark. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start talking to them about this stuff. And right around episode 20, the show really picked up.
That's
and
right. That's right.
Where everyone's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and you were also dealing with, you know, adjusting to the move and adjusting to the new job and all that. So you were dealing with your own adjustments. Like real life affects how we.
Right. We're not doing this full time. We're
a
not
lot.
paid professionals.
Correct.
And so like D&D, so Snake Doc said, for sure, to be honest, that element has led me away from D&D as a specific main core game. Right. The interesting thing about D&D is it has this huge narrative awakening, but the game actually has almost no mechanics to tell you how to tell a story.
Correct.
Almost none.
Correct.
It's a game of numbers and intersecting roles, but it's not like other games like, hey, you can do this thing.
Right.
You can make a persuasion check. If you make this persuasion check, it gives you a persuasion check. It doesn't tell you that if you hit this target number that this thing has, their mood adjusts by 1 or whatever. It doesn't. Those things don't exist.
Correct.
You can call it. You can have a flashback to give yourself a hero point. Things like that. Those narrative devices don't exist in D&D.
Right.
And it's interesting to see D&D have this huge narrative growth and have the most successful storytelling of its kind.
Where there are no actual mechanics for it.
Yes.
It's really interesting. You're right.
And that's I feel like that's like an elusive dragon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think it makes people feel good when they tell a really good story in D&D. They're like, I didn't need any mechanics.
That's right. That's right.
And that's kind of a silly sentiment, but I think there's something to it that people feel that way.
Sure. Yeah. This is a good chat session.
This is fun.
We're not having any art, but
do you
we're
have
having good
feedback? I was
conversation.
like, we could just switch to just
That's
chatting
what I
and
was
rename
saying.
it. Rename
we're
it.
gonna,
Let's
we're gonna
chat.
have to.
This is the Matt's in the machine now. This is Matt Lexus in the machine.
Matt Lexus.
Matt yeah, I don't know. No, that doesn't work. Alet.
Alethu.
Oh god.
Oh no, that's terrible.
It's terrible.
Molest-
It's like a B-movie D&D villain.
Yeah, no.
Alethu, the Dark Lord.
We are, I guess, Malexis. We have this joke, so that my husband Chase and I dubbed as Chalexis to make it easier on like just us signing cards and stuff like that because we're lazy. I mean, not lazy, but and so now we have joked that Matthew is my sister husband.
Malexicent? I like that.
Oh, Malexicent.
Hey, that's not bad. Malexicent.
Oh my
Malexicent
god.
chats about D&D. New show, folks.
But yeah, so I joked that we're Chalexis Foreman.
Yeah, I've known her husband for 17 years, and I've known her for a long time too now, 5 or 7 years or whatever. God, how long?
Yeah, it's like 7 now at this point.
So we're basically
It's going on 7.
Dice Priority is a cult marriage, so it's fine.
Correct. Alexis takes over the machine.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I guess so. That would like the Crash Pandas one shot. So good.
I did. It was great. Oh man.
Snake Doc says, but that brings up the question: do you need mechanics to resolve situations? This is the interesting thing, right?
Right? Isn't it?
Dungeons and Dragons doesn't tell you anything. Like even
Not
the charm
nothing.
condition, the charm condition comes about as close as it gets.
Yeah.
But it's like,
which we've been talking about.
yeah, it's like, well,
recently.
I've kind
and
of
friends.
right in friends.
Because friends
yeah.
says that they turn hostile towards you
Yeah.
afterwards. Doesn't necessarily mean that there will be a fight, but
Right.
that you will provoke hostility after
Right.
they realize what you've done to their brain.
Right. But hostility from, the nice baker woman can be like, get out of my store, not I picked up my crossbow
Right,
and I'm now
exactly.
shooting you in the face.
Exactly.
But in a game that offers you no advice, and where death is that we talked about this last time, where death is like the default option. Like how different of a game would it be if knockout was the default versus death?
Right.
So and like killing and collecting loot and all that history
There
and
we
all that
go.
baggage.
Okay, I've got heat again.
Nice.
I
So
turned
we're
it way
still-
up so that I would be able to see the glow.
We're still in art stream.
Yeah,
Normie
yeah, we
games. Normie games. Normie games.
It's a thing now, Matt. Good
Normie
job.
games. Oh no.
What have you
I
done?
knew I shouldn't have said it.
What have you done?
I'm a terrible person.
What have you done?
Oh god, terrible person. What was I
I have
saying?
heat back.
So yeah, it doesn't give you any things, but like should RPG games do it?
Right.
What do you like? So in my mind, it's like pick your poison, pick your thing. Like
Right.
some people, I look at them as crutches, and that's I think wrong to say. But I look at those devices not as crutches. What's it? That crutch is a terrible term. That's very
Yeah.
ableist.
I was
What's a
gonna say it's
non-ableist
really
way of saying
terrible.
it? Yeah.
So to change the conversation just a slight, because let me just say the thing. The thing about D&D is it gives you more mechanics for like the actual fight
Yeah.
for combat
Yep.
than a lot of the ones with a lot of storytelling dynamics do. And that's where one thing where
Yep.
a lot of the more narratively driven mechanic
Yep.
games don't have a lot of combat. They don't have a lot of mechanics for combat and direction about combat. And you were saying about where
Right.
death is the default. And
Right.
and I think that's the thing, like with D&D, you take the storytelling and you expand it into the fight because the fight is part of the drama. It is
Right.
part of the role play.
Right.
You do make choices, and those choices have consequences. You can just play a game that has no role play and you just go kill things, and you can do that with D&D, and you can have a lot of fun. You can just be fine. And some people, that's their preference. But you can also then, if you want, take D&D, add in your own storytelling mechanics, like just run with it, add in the RP, and you get to add that into the combat. And that's one thing that I think is interesting about a game like Dungeons and Dragons, because like I said, it is so combat focused on the mechanics that you can turn combat encounters into such large sections of the game, and they
Right.
can have a lot of they can feel like more than just a fight.
Right.
Because you make choices, and you
Right.
can role play that encounter.
Right. D&D is a
It
game.
is where the drama is also.
Right. Violence. But again, to that end, if like D&D goes to great lengths to tell you how to behave in an encounter.
Right.
It tells you what an action is, a reaction
in
is, a
frame.
bonus
Whoops.
action. It tells you the limits under which you can use those reactions. It has exceptional rules to tell you about the reactions, spells, descriptions, times, reach, range, etc. But then when it comes to trying to do something through, like, I want to deceive, I want to persuade, I want to do something that won't end in someone's death, the game shuts up.
That's right.
But it still, again, has this pinnacle of narrative achievement.
That's right.
And whether that's like a condition of our economic system or whatever, what have you, it's interesting. So these narrative devices, that's what I'll just call them, narrative devices in other games,
Sure, yes.
like Blades in the Dark and stuff, where it's like you can do this, you can gain a point, and this point means this for
Right.
terms of storytelling. That to me, I like the narrative games. I'm growing more of an appreciation to them, but in my mind, it's like you need these things if you're not experienced and trained,
Right.
and it'll make things go smoother. But it also starts to feel a lot more like a game than a story.
Right.
To me, but I haven't played that many of them. Whereas in D&D, if you have a beautiful narrative moment, a conversation on a ship about, life, death, morality,
Right.
you decide to walk away from an event, or I'll even use a really good example. Last episode in the Ghost of the Machine, you and Morgan basically
Yeah.
had a battle of wits
We did.
between persuasion, deception, and insight.
Yep.
And that was crazy.
It was nuts.
But there was no rule about if you fail this, you get this point, and she gets this point. It was
Right.
and that was a highlight.
It was nuts. And that was a very stressful moment to be in as a
Yeah.
player. Probably as a DM too, but like seriously as a player.
But there's nothing in the manual that tells us about those things that happened.
Or like what happens if you fail or you
Right.
succeed.
That's all me.
Right.
And you.
That's right.
So do role-playing games need that? And in my mind, in my experience with this, I think that there's always the old adage of like, if you want to learn how to play D&D, don't start with D&D.
Yeah.
D&D it doesn't have the training wheels. It doesn't have the devices to tell you how to roleplay.
Right.
And I think even if you are an expert like the Liam O'Briens and the Mercer Rays of the world and the Matt Mercers,
Right.
you still will find yourself stumbling into territory in D&D.
Yep.
I think it makes it harder to stumble into those devices into those problem areas in games that give you those tools.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a valid point. And an interesting, take on the whole thing. What's happening in chat?
A lot. Let's just
Wow.
this is really cool, guys.
Yeah, it is.
Really good discussion. Fantasy Flight's Star Wars is a great example of lots of social rules, and I like them. But I've never played Fantasy Flight Star Wars. I don't know which one that is. I've played Saga.
Right.
I've played D20, but I haven't played like Empire at War or whatever it's called, the D6 one. Is that what we're talking about?
I'm not sure. What's that one called?
Right. Try adding Detect Thoughts to the Battle of Wits. Right. So D&D even complicates the question further. It gives you these spells that have very on the onset they have some discrete things. Detect thoughts,
Right,
you can
right.
read surface thoughts, okay. But what the hell does that mean?
Right. What does that mean, and what do you do with it?
Right.
What
Charm
what-
person, charm
How do you
someone.
determine what the surface thoughts are, and like
Right.
blah blah blah, and then probe deeper? That whole
Right.
animal,
It was the first one, then Saga, then Fantasy Flight.
Oh.
Okay. I'm not familiar with Fantasy Flight. Maybe that's the one where Mary Elizabeth and Sam Witwer played for a little while. I was going to check that out, but I never did.
I never checked that out either. I don't have enough time to watch all the things I want to watch anymore.
That's the
especially
dirty
because
secret.
because we're creating now.
Yeah, that's the dirty secret of all creators. We can't.
Yeah.
We don't have any time to watch other things. Although I do make an effort.
Same here. Same here. I absolutely try.
That's very true, Techno Scald. It is revolving around streaming. That's, yeah, exactly.
What's
So
revolving around streaming?
So Techno Scald said, this discussion is revolving around the perspective of streaming, because what is awesome on a camera, what is awesome on Saturday night around a table with friends and a few beers, aren't always the same thing.
That's very true.
Very, very true.
Yep.
Very, very true. This is all about entertainment and what is the future of the streaming, and why is it that D&D is this big monstrosity of narrative role-playing whenever it doesn't even tell you what to do.
And that's, I don't even know if that was even part of what was conceived when it first came around.
No, I don't.
I don't know how people actually played it, because, I mean, I wasn't there.
That's right, Nat. I watch other people's stuff, too. I watched the whole Crystal Caves stuff. That Alexis was in and that Nat ran. I do make an honest effort to watch other people's creative work, because I don't want to be the kind of creator who only makes things and doesn't watch other people's things.
Right.
But being a creator does limit your time.
It really does. I try to have something up, like, while I'm making overlays or something. I can't always focus on the two things, though.
Right. Yeah. Techno Skull says, I like gaming more than I like streaming. I feel that.
What a normie.
Yeah, that's normie bullshit. No,
I'm just kidding.
not at all.
No, it's a complete valid preference. It's a completely valid preference.
Yeah, I love streaming D&D. I love performing. I like the rush of it all. The stakes. Does it for me.
See the difference in the darkness now?
I do.
Between this side and that side?
Absolutely, you can tell.
Yeah. What a wonder heat will actually do. So in Gygax's book, he talks about the origins of the play comes from psychological assistance term for the therapy at its core, while the game comes from miniatures.
Right.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah.
If we could replicate that without all the theater frippery, but the theater frippery is what's good.
It is.
I mean, when
good.
I played with
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a lot of strategy and that sort of stuff. I have a higher tolerance for strategy in my D&D than some of us do.
Yeah.
But I really also enjoy the drama of it and the theater frippery, as Kyle is putting it.
When I played with Techno Scald in theater with the Goners, as it became known,
Yes.
there's plenty of theater frippery, and that to me makes it all worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, like, the theater frippery is how you get the atmosphere of people being afraid of those lava children.
That's exactly.
That
yes.
is the theater frippery doing that.
Right.
That's not us actually. That's not people actually being afraid of lava creatures.
No.
That's all mood and
Yes.
tone.
It's also
and
how you
setting
get
the scene and getting people to feel that tension in
Yes.
the air in the moment that can't be replicated.
Well, and
Unless you're just gonna say, okay, the mechanics of this thing are, and you go, oh, well, that's really dangerous. That will do it, but that's not how we go about setting the stage of being afraid of things in
Correct.
D&D. I mean, it might play into it, like, for instance, in Dragon Heisters, I had no idea because I didn't read the very first chapter because I wanted to be surprised, right? So I'm reading now and I'm getting myself ready to run next week, but I didn't originally know that there was a freaking intellect devourer that we were going to run into and a mind flayer.
Right.
At level 1.
Right.
At level 1.
So when you see the mind flare,
My character doesn't know what it is, so I'm playing as if my character doesn't know what it is, or the intellect devourer. But in the back of my head, I know the mechanics and I'm already scared shitless.
right.
But my character sees something weird, and the descriptions of what it is and what it looks like and what's happening, that all sets why your character is afraid.
Right. Well, and it goes beyond that. So, like, for another example, like in the Goners thing, like, Matt, the player, and the DM, like I put on a show, but I have basically an expert knowledge of monsters, their challenge ratings, how much damage one can take, like, the relative danger. Like, so when I'm taunting the vampire as Crawford at 38 hit points, I'm fully aware that I'm probably going to die like
Correct.
90% of the time.
Correct.
I will say I forgot that I didn't take a teleportation feature. So
I thought you were going to be able to Misty Step, and then you're like, nope, not as such.
I figured I had about a 20% chance of living, and that was good enough for me. It was more like 1% chance.
Correct.
So, but like, I don't use that knowledge to inform my character choices. I made a character with a death wish for fun in a dungeon that was designed to kill you. Correct. So I thought that'd be interesting. More interesting than the person who always plays things safe. Because no one watches the show about the people who always do everything right. It's boring. So that was the idea. But if it was just a game, and we were streaming that, Crawford would have never taunted the vampire, because Matt, the player, knows, who had just literally got done running a vampire arc, knows how powerful vampires are.
Correct.
Knows how dangerous. But instead did a thing that I thought was narratively interesting.
Yep. And would you have changed how that went if it had not been streamed?
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point in dying among your friends around the table. I might have been... Here's what I'm saying. Crawford would have been reckless, not that reckless. Does that make sense? He would have just shut his mouth. Or I would have been more like, hey, Theola, be sure to heal me. You're a druid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're a druid, we're running around, there's a vampire who has me in his sights. Yeah.
And then, like, let's go.
Played a little bit smarter.
Yeah, and also my spell, like Kyle remarked, I didn't have mage armor. I'm like, I didn't make my choices off of math.
Right.
Like, I understand the math implicitly.
Right.
I don't make my spell choices based off of that.
Correct.
So theater frippery for the win, my friend.
That's right.
Yeah. Taking risks makes every game more fun. That's exactly true. I think the two sins in streaming D&D, here are the two sins that you can commit.
Here we go, folks.
Over planning and doing the same thing twice.
Oh, my cough is over here.
That second one's not as strong, but it's like it's like you don't tell the audience the same thing twice. I actually do because I think it helps with D&D, but it's more so doing the same thing twice. You know, no one wants to watch the D&D show where the team has a metagame strategy of like, hey, we're all rangers and we all push things back. No one wants to watch that long-term campaign.
Right.
Or we're all warlocks and we're all coffee locks, you know, or whatever it is. No one wants to watch that long-term campaign. Or at least, I don't know, I wouldn't.
Right.
So yeah, taking risks and playing a character defined by their flaws is what is, in my mind, and is interesting. Thinking of your character wholly by their strengths and playing to those strengths is not the most intriguing kind of show.
Right. I'm relying on you to read out chat again, by the way, because I'm looking at art again.
Technical Skull said, sometimes you gotta open the chest even you think it's a mimic. Absolutely.
That's right. And sometimes you're almost 100% sure that it will be a mimic and that it isn't. And if you hadn't opened it, you wouldn't have gotten the loot. And maybe there's an artifact that has a story device or just is really cool and has nothing to do with story.
Yeah.
You never know.
Techno Skull says, wait, you could absolutely have an awesome game with all single base class. Yeah, the base classes can all be the same, but I'm talking more so like we have all worked out a single strategy for every scenario that works very effectively across the board.
Right.
Because, and maybe this is my more 4th ed experience talking.
It might be our 4th ed.
But that is something you can entirely do. And you can literally take on an official module with like one single strategy and just do the thing.
I charge.
Yeah, and like your team can literally be built to effectively outweigh any likely obstacle.
Right.
And you never have to think about it. That is something that, and in 5th edition, I could easily do that. That is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like your party being so perfectly organized and synchronized that you basically have a few strategies you work out, and basically regardless of what's in front of you, you can
do
get
the same
through
thing,
it
right?
Because you've metagamed the situation.
Correct.
And that's the game that nobody wants to watch. Whereas Sirens of the Realm, they might all be bards, but it's not like, okay, I took this feature and this feature because it's going to synergize with yours.
Right.
And we have this plan and this plan and this plan.
Right, correct.
And this is how we're going to approach situation A because of X, Y, and Z. And this is how we're going to get the best outcome and minimize the risk, and no one takes damage, and no one has to feel stressed. Those kind of things. That is the show that no one wants to watch.
Right. And that can be fun to play, but that's not necessarily fun to watch.
Yeah.
It might be fun for you to have that strategy worked out and then only ever have to deviate from it slightly every time, or not even at all, or only every once in a while. Like that can be fun for people, because then you feel like badasses and you get to raffle stomp whatever. And even when it's challenging, like you feel like you worked like a team and a well-oiled machine and all that. And that can feel rewarding, but it doesn't feel fun to watch.
Yeah, and for a long term, like, again, not...
For me, it gets boring. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do that long term. I'm not going to sit here and say that it won't be fun for somebody, though.
Right. So
I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody that their fun is wrong, you know?
Yeah. Right, exactly. I'm talking about me.
Exactly, right.
That asked what were the two sins. To me, the two sins of D&D is like over-planning, or really mostly almost any level of planning, and doing the same thing over and over again. Repetition, I guess.
Now, when you say planning, you mean amongst the group? Or you want to clarify what you mean by planning? So what I mean by planning
is, I mean even like the basic of like, hey, we know there's an ooze in the next room, what are we going to do about it? That to me, and this is the thing that always takes people by surprise, it's not a fundamentally wrong question, but hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of Dungeons & Dragons watching and playing, thousands really, thousands,
right,
has taught me that no one at the table can answer that question, or it is a rare moment when someone does effectively answer it. That like maybe like 20% of the time you get an actual resolution out of that question.
Like when Cash showed up in Critical Role Season 1, and everybody just stared at him like, oh, you have actual tactician, like, things to bring to the table. Right. We've never done this before.
Right, because players are not really equipped to plan at a level of D&D. We're talking about most people who show up who either A, don't own the module, and B, if they do, manuals, and B, if they do, they haven't read them. And so attempting to plan in D&D, and usually it evolves into a mechanical-based thing, like, I'll hit him with Water Sphere, then you hit him with Call Lightning, and I did, wait, how does that work? Well, I don't know, and then it devolves into that.
Right.
Don't do it.
So, in the short term, that can be fun. Like in the one-shot that we cooked up for this past week, Wednesday, it turned out that my character had animal friendship, and we ran into a lot of beasts that were subject to the terms of animal friendship.
Right.
And Chase had Bane, which made it easier for me to get animal friendship to work on said beasts.
Yes.
And we didn't talk about it ahead of time. No. We just organically fell into that pattern.
Correct.
But it was a one-shot, and we did it all of maybe 2 times.
Right.
So that's fun to figure out and enact that.
Yes.
But it's not fun. It wouldn't be fun if we had a full campaign and that's all we ever did.
Correct. A full Exaling campaign, and the only thing you ever did was charm beasts all the time.
Correct.
Nobody wants that.
But in a one-shot,
yeah.
Hell yes, because then you end up with Felicia Stormborn, Shaper of High Branch, and Mother of Dinosaurs.
Right. So in terms of planning, what people say is, what do we want to do about this? Or they ask a kind of open-ended, vague, planny question like that. When the better question is, or even a statement is, this is how I feel about this.
Right.
Shit, guys, can we really take a Great Ooze? I don't know. I'm feeling pretty tapped myself. I feel strong, you know. I fought one of these before, back in High Garden, blah, blah, blah.
And this thing that I can do really works very effectively on it. Let's just
Right.
try that.
And no one goes down any rabbit holes, and
That's
people
right.
speak in I statements evocatively,
Right.
and they develop general meaning from the things that they read.
And I have a lot of baggage from 4th Ed and
Yeah.
what we all as a group ended up devolving into in 4th Ed. I have a lot of baggage from that, so I'm still working through getting away from that tendency.
Yeah.
You're not quite in frame, buddy.
Oh, sorry guys, I'll like move over.
It's all good.
Yeah, no, and I like if you watch Matt Cole, we'll keep going, but I'll read chat real quick. Kyle apparently has the original box set. That's great.
Nice.
And then Technoscald said, Kyle said, oh man, look how shitty even the CR players are at reading their abilities. Exactly. Like last night, Talon's that's why planning is
Yes.
a terrible idea because no one's read their character sheets.
Correct. And
So what are
even
you
if
doing
you've-
trying to plan anything?
And even if you've read it, you
It's
can
hard.
you panic.
Yeah.
You panic when you're in those
Yeah.
situations too. And then you start going, "Oh, I don't actually know." You question yourself. You wonder whether or not you've read your abilities right. And if you haven't read your abilities right, has anybody else at the table
Right.
read theirs right?
Right. Whereas the game is much better designed for, I cast Call Lightning. The DM says, okay, this is how this is going to work. Okay, can I position here? Yes. Okay, done. And initiative. Initiative already takes care of the...
My
Yes.
intent. Declaring
Yes.
your intent in D&D
Yeah.
is really important, I feel.
Yes.
Like declaring what you want to do rather than just saying, I do this or I'm rolling this without waiting for a prompt from the DM or without
Exactly.
talking about what you are trying to accomplish.
Right. Yeah. And I was raging last night in chat because they were all going to die
Yeah.
on CR. No spoilers, but it was really intense. And
It was a very
I
intense.
was raging because I could see the fog setting in, and there's nothing that frustrates me more than as a DM and a player when I see
Yep.
a player get into the weeds or in the fog.
Yes. You feel really bad, and it does, and feels
I feel bad for them, and I feel
Yes.
bad for the people at the table.
right.
Okay, Nat. See you, buddy.
Bye.
We missed you already.
Thanks for hanging out. Good chat. See you tomorrow. Hey.
That's right. So good. So yeah, so to me that's what I mean by planning. I think that if people want to have a plan, they need to learn how to speak in I statements, speak evocatively, and speak in general terms.
Yep. And one thing that has really helped me to do that more, especially in Ghost in the Machine as Gilly, is to every Wednesday before we sit down at the table together, I focus in. I take the time while I'm doing my makeup and while I'm driving over to really focus in on where Gilly's mindset is, what her motivations are and how she feels about what's going on.
Yeah.
And I try to bring things, and this is again the theater frippery for you,
Yes.
Kyle, but I try to bring things to the table from the perspective of Gilly's emotional state, honestly. It has really turned my gameplay around, I feel.
Well, it's been noticed by the viewers too.
Yeah.
You've been getting a lot more love from your peers and the viewers.
Yep.
Again, and this is it's all a matter of preference, but those attitudes come from a long time of doing
Yes.
things the other way.
Yeah.
And it not working and it being continuously a frustrating experience.
And I started out my journey with the attempt of doing something more like what
too.
happens on Critical Role. That's how my journey started, trying to do something in that direction, but none of us had the tools,
Yes.
and,
Yep.
none of us really had, we all still were kind of, dicking around at the table still. And we had too many people going on at one time to really, people of different skill levels and,
Right.
and wanting different things, and we
Yes.
hadn't had those conversations. We hadn't formed a core, solid group the way that Critical Role has been.
Right.
That you see them, and with the cumulative and more unified direction that they were taking things, right? The unified intent and the unified what people want out of it.
Yeah.
There's obviously variation in what everybody at the Critical Role table wants out of the game,
Yeah.
but they are much more in line than I think most of your average tables actually are. And they've actually understand their own wants and needs out of the game more than your average player does too. So when I started out, I was of the, well, this is what I want out of the game, but I didn't understand that that's what I wanted. And I don't think a lot of us at the table understood that either. We were trying, we were getting there, but we didn't have the tools necessary, and we hadn't actually done this, like, the actual reflection of, like, the self-reflection and then the conversation at the table.
Yeah.
And now, after years of being with different groups and devolving and devolving and devolving further and further away from what I wanted out of D&D, I almost quit.
Yeah.
I almost quit playing because I wasn't getting what I wanted, and especially after I found Critical Role and I realized how much more I could be getting out of my time, out of my games, and I just wasn't getting it. And we did a lot of soul searching at the table. I did a lot of soul searching myself, and we've made some changes, and it's been, in my opinion and in my experience, for the better.
Oh,
not
so much for the better.
Not everybody might share that opinion.
No.
And because, like I said, not everybody wants the same things out of their game.
No.
Other people at the table may have been completely happy with what was going on, and you at home might have been completely happy with what my experiences were. I wasn't. You weren't.
No. It's a long journey. So, check out the chat here.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, people can be good at planning and all that. I'm just, again, for me, I don't know what stream is known for its good planning. It remarks me, and it's fine to have, if you, that's how you have fun, but I've sat at a lot of different tables, watched a lot of different shows, and I've never sat down or watched a show and been like, ah, yes, the fun part begins, the planning. I guess is my thing.
Yeah.
Whereas it's always a mess and always goes
Especially-
nowhere, and everyone always abandons it the moment the fight starts.
And that's a lot of your baggage from 4th Ed too,
Yeah,
like from the toxicity that we all developed at the table. It was, by the time I even joined that game, for instance, it was already to the point where you'd sit and it'd be a boardroom planning session, and then nobody, like, the first
Immediately
thing
abandoned.
that would happen is somebody does something 100% against the plan. It's like,
time.
oh, we're gonna like sneak in and blah blah blah, and then the first thing that happens is I kick down the door. Okay, all right. Glad to see that we had a chance to enact the plan we just concocted. And there also is the old adage, no plan survives contact with the enemy.
Yep.
So, like, even if you do try and you are all doing your best to enact the plan that you decided on, is that even still worth it? Like, maybe you
How much
plan the
different did we-
beginning. Like,
yeah.
maybe you plan out the very first step. Like, okay, here's how we'll start the thing.
Yeah.
But my God, it
Like-
always goes to shit anyway. I mean, it usually goes to shit. There are some instances where it doesn't, and things actually happen the way you plan them, but I think those are the exception to the rule.
Like, such a minor exception.
Yeah.
Such a minor exception. And the most interesting and the most memorable fights are usually the unplanned ones.
That's right.
Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, you want to tell me what's happening?
Talking about LARPing, talking about CR. Snake Doc plays in Firefly, he said.
Oh, nice.
Alexis runs Firefly. Someone chimed in the chat and said that, which is true.
Oh, nice.
She runs Firefly here and there. It's been a lot of fun.
Who
when
wrote
happens.
that I would have run Firefly?
Liz said that.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, how are you doing? But yeah, I have been trying to find some time to maybe get some Firefly up on the stream. I just haven't gotten there yet. What's happening?
Yeah. Simple planning that Pyromancer says simple planning that establishes role playing opportunities is the best. I agree. That's my style.
Right.
But again, a lot of people have a lot of fun getting in the nitty gritty. That's kind of what they show up for, and that's okay. But again, especially from like a streaming perspective, ain't nobody watching your show.
and I really enjoy a lot of like Euro style board games that involve a lot of strategy.
Yeah.
So I do have the tendency to devolve to the planning, and I oftentimes will forget that that is not what we want out of a stream.
Not as such.
So sometimes I need to be shaken out of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what I devolve into, and I know that in myself.
Well, it's hard because it seems like a very normal and natural thing to do. It's like, hey, this is kind of a game. It's kind of a thing. You want to be inclusive. But
Like-
it just doesn't work.
And if you were in real life, you would want to plan it out because you
Correct.
have an actual like
Correct.
fear of death as your
Correct.
own individual person.
Correct.
These are not fictional hit points if it's you or yourself going into a dungeon. But these are
it's-
characters. This is imaginary. Their stakes are completely different.
And they're much more powerful.
Right. You're
They're
much
heroically
exactly.
fit to perform these actions.
Yeah.
A line I think I've said a couple times in the Ghost of the Machine is, well, it's like, what can we do to be more prepared? I'm like, well, you're level, like I'll say, like you're level 7. You got you got magic items. You're all very capable. I think you'll be,
Oh fuck me!
What more can you do? Oh no,
I had a surge of heat and I did not take.
that's a smoosh a scoosh.
Did not take the time I needed to like blow down on the thing like this. See, I'll show you what I should have done.
Yeah. So much of my games are stream of conscious or reactions of players' reactions. I DM'd like that for a really long time, and it's definitely still a lot of what you have. Like I feel like I have to do. But I've also gotten more into DM prep because it helps with a long-term narrative. Helps a lot. Helps me anyway.
I'm gonna have to sand that out.
I still do a lot of stream of consciousness. One thing that streaming has taught me is I've slowed down a lot. I stop. I try to anyway. I slow down. I try to stop. I maybe try to ask the question again, and then I try to articulate in a calmer manner what's happening. Hard though. It's hard.
It can be hard, yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I'm very excitable as a person.
You don't say. I don't think anybody had noticed that in you.
Yeah, it gives the illusion of potentially dying. Also, sometimes people actually die.
Correct.
We've had Justice got shot in the head, and that was he almost didn't come back from that one. Glitch just barely made the resurrection DC on him.
Correct. And Selena died before that.
Yeah.
Like legit died in a ritual.
Right.
Like granted, you didn't intend for her to potentially stay dead from that ritual.
No, not at all. But what if the processor killed her?
Right, exactly.
Then she would have been dead.
Exactly.
What are you gonna do?
Right.
But yeah, the illusion, like, it gives the illusion of potentially dying in almost all of the scenarios that you guys enter. You guys know the stakes are high, so you treat even the smallest moments with a serious edge.
That's right.
And it helps us raise the stakes and stay focused. At least
right.
that's the intention.
Sometimes we get lost in how dangerous things feel, and
Right.
then we feel the need, like we panic and we feel the anxiety, and the
Right.
boardroom kicks in because we start treating it more and more like it is real life. And we start treating it more and more. I think that's where it comes in. It's because we love these characters so much, and there's so much the games have become such high stakes that it almost, the veil between my own self-preservation and the self-preservation for my character in the game has definitely thinned a lot, and that's where you end up getting into sometimes you just need some snapping out of it.
Yep. Another end of the world prediction. I'm not sure what you mean, Snake Doc, but Ghost of the Machine is the Wednesday night stream. I'm pretty sure that you've watched it. I'm pretty sure I've seen you in
I
chat.
think so. Yeah.
Because you said, "Hey again." I'm not sure if he's a you viewer or a Ghost of the Machine viewer, but
right.
He's
but
a
I
D&D
remember.
fan.
I remember talking to Snake Doc before. I just can't remember exactly which stream it was.
Yeah, you guys are getting well. There's some things happening on stage in Ghost
There
of
is
the
a
Machine.
lot happening right now.
You guys
in
are
Ghost of the
fine.
Machine.
We're
fine.
Another
We just,
thing
you
is
know.
another thing is though is like, Ghost of the Machine is like. I think about the Steward of Gehenna, and that was like a high stakes fight, but at the same time, you guys kind of brained him. He kind of went down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. Well, we actually planned well that time
That was
and
minimal
enacted a
planning, though.
decent plan.
Yeah.
And we enacted it well.
Yeah.
It was, hey, if I get silence up,
Yes.
that will help a lot with these concerns that we have, like him
Right.
spellcasting and
Right.
us drawing attention.
Yeah.
And getting the silence up worked. And it actually happened, and we went according to that minimal plan.
Right,
It's
and that
like,
plan was also greatly aided by me chiming in as Mrs. Killcast.
That's
because
true.
there was some weeding, and I was like,
right.
okay.
That's right.
But that's okay, because she was there to help at the time.
Exactly.
Now she's not.
No, not as such. Not as such.
Twinned power word kill. Hey, listen. It wasn't twinned, it was split. There's a difference. She's a wizard, not a sorcerer.
Oh, God.
But yeah, you have to trust your DM.
God. Yeah, it's essential.
But there's only so much a DM can do to build that trust. Sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes you just gotta take a leap of faith.
Uh-huh.
But so as a DM, in my perspective, I've never done anything that's underhanded, terribly unfair, or anything like that.
What would you call anything you've done with my family?
Gilly's
family. You think any of that is not unfair?
None of that is unfair. Literally none of it.
I'm just giving you
yeah. Yeah, none of that is unfair. So I think the pillars are there.
Yeah.
The rest is just taking a leap of faith.
You have thoroughly fucked my family over.
Not me! Dupla Croy.
I'm sorry. Who is Dupla? Where does Dupla come from?
I don't know. No one knows the answer to those questions.
Your head. Your head.
No.
Your
the writers.
You are the writer. God damn it. I will find a way to blame all of this on you. And I won't have to try very hard.
Yeah, I love my players and their characters. But no one wants to watch the story about everyone having lollygagging around Gishari. Maybe people well, for one, we're not that funny, so we couldn't do
Correct.
That. What's that show called?
This is not Friends.
Or Adventure Zone?
Adventure Zone, I think. Yeah.
Adventure Zone, Adventure Time Zone?
Adventure Time Zone.
Must be it.
I think Adventure Time is the cartoon, and Adventure Zone is the D&D show.
Right, and that's produced, and it's comedy, and it's
right.
That's a different thing. This kind of more soap opera-esque is with the idea we're not telling a comedy, we're telling a drama, and that's about creating adversity. Kill your only friend. Yeah, exactly. I didn't make you guys drown an elderly woman just to advance on your quest. In the home game, what the fuck was that?
It was the Shadowfell.
What option do we have there, huh? I want to know. How to drown an old lady just to advance on our quest. I want some answers.
Well, hey, Arya basically had to do that. Help somebody die in order to continue on your quest.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I didn't say enough to, maybe.
Right. Good stories are told through adversity. And as DMs, we present challenge and adversity, and we try to balance it so it's not overwhelming. But D&D 5th edition creates some balance issues, and it's hard to balance encounters. It's hard to find that line of, this is powerful and dangerous, but it's not unfair and overwhelming.
Right.
And I pride myself in being able to create those encounters, but it can be difficult.
Yep.
You also don't know the kind of choices or the things your players are going to do or how they're going to interact.
That's right, that's right. I realized I made had a massive oversight as Gilly during this fight against Morgan.
Yeah?
I was, there was a narrative thing that I could have been doing in combat. I should have been using counter charm instead of trying to do anything else. When I look back at it, I'm like, Alexis panicked and she didn't realize that, that was the smart choice and the narrative choice.
However, from a design perspective, counter charm is a ribbon, and it's hard to remember your ribbons.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's 100% true.
Just to give you a little rope there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But when I look back at it, if I get myself out of the fog, that is the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a lot for me to prepare for there. There was a lot for me to prepare for, but that's what I should have been doing.
Right.
Is using my action to sing counter charm.
Yeah. And the stakes in Ghost of the Machine and the narrative and everything, it might be a little bit too much at times, but hey, I'm not a professional. I don't do this full time.
That's right. Nobody taught us how the fuck to do any of this.
Yeah, we're all learning. I think that And so to piggyback off of the counter charm thing, so that's another gets into the design aspect of D&D and storytelling. There are things in D&D what are known as ribbons, but they don't tell you that they're ribbons. There's a book, there is an excerpt in one of the books, I think it's Sword Coast Adventure Guide or Xanathar's Guide, that tells you some of these features are ribbons. But the game doesn't, other than that small chapter, that small paragraph, the game doesn't actually tell you most of the time, hey, this is a ribbon. There's no ribbon mark next to some of these features.
Right.
So one of the things that happen is people sit down with their character and they try to find a way to use all these things and they think they're supposed to use them. Good example of this is the Frenzied Barbarian's intimidating presence or whatever it is. That's a ribbon.
Yep.
You're supposed to intimidate small people with that. Because people look at it and they're like, wait, it's based on my charisma? Am I supposed to put like an 18 in my charisma? What is this? But it's a ribbon. You're just supposed to be intimidating to people who are easily intimidated.
Right, exactly.
But the game doesn't walk up and tell you, hey, this thing is a ribbon. You're only supposed to use it a minimal amount of time.
Right,
Same thing
right.
with like maybe even deflect arrows in some games.
Right.
Like that's maybe not quite. That's like balance. That's
It depends
borders
on the
between-
game, but yeah.
But it's not core to the design of the class. There are other things to do with your reaction.
Right. And like the monk ability where you can run on water and
That's
run
a
along
good
walls.
example
like,
of a ribbon. Yeah.
Yes, there are plenty of moments where remembering you can do that come in extremely handy. However, like, is that what makes you a monk?
No.
No.
It's a ribbon.
Do you choose to become a monk because you're like, hey, I want to walk on water, I want to run across water eventually?
Yeah.
That's not why you usually become a monk. Maybe it is for somebody, but it's not like the main attraction.
Chase says, just me getting off on taking everything from you. I agree, Chase. I love taking everything from people, too. I love
the two of you.
I love the suffering. It keeps me warm in my bed at night. I love the suffering in my players' eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you become dehydrated this week without like feasting on our tears?
Well, so what I did since I didn't get to run Ghost in the Machine, what I did is I went around neighborhoods where in vulnerable areas and I let off a series of pipe bombs.
Oh my gosh!
And I watched the people flee in horror.
Oh my god.
So we're good there. Yep. Yeah, I bottle it up and I drink that shit in my coffee.
That's right.
The tears of my players. So.
It's 100% truth.
Yeah. I can't get it up for anything less than complete trauma. So. God.
You are the worst.
Yeah.
Why are you like this? Oh my god.
Matt is a mess. I am a mess. Correct.
Chase, I don't know you.
I will be banned from Variant Rules someday soon. With all of my comments. I promise I'm not problematic.
Normie gaming.
No.
I'm just gonna bring that back.
For any of you,
Normie gamers.
I called non-stream D&D tabletop games normie games.
Yeah,
you don't stream it. It's
and then now in the same conversation you were saying, but I'm not problematic. Self-awareness. You're the most self-aware, Matt. The most.
Oh no, it's spreading. Normie gaming. Dan's already got the ban out. He's like, all right. Obviously, letting this asshole into our life was a mistake. What the hell? What is this 4chan bullshit?
Correct.
I've never been on that site. FYI, just to clarify. Never would.
It's probably for the best.
Back when NPCs gave XP. Level up when put a note saying.
Sorry.
Snake Doc says back when NPCs gave an XP each, had player level up when put a note saying meet here at noon in town, and put a delayed blast fireball under them. Man, that was an evil game and very gamist, but it was long ago. And those moments can be fun. Like we had a lot of fun in the gamist days when we were teenagers. This was before 4th edition, back in 3.5. Oh man, the characters.
Before I knew you guys.
Yeah, the characters we would make, the BS we would get into. But even back then, the longest game we ever played was very like rules light and very like fast and loose and just very, very narrative. But like everyone got to be like their thing. Like Chase was a vampire. My friend at the time was a were-tiger, like, and gunslinger. Like, it was about the mechanics, but we still had a good time. So that sounds like a fun thing to do in an evil game. But obviously now it's probably good that most people don't use XP, and You don't have to murder things to advance all
Oh
the time.
my god, that's problematic.
I remember it's still in 5e. Maybe it wasn't 5e. I remember I was reading something, and it was like, if your players find a peaceful means, give them half experience.
It was 4th ed.
Oh yeah, that was 4th. Yeah, that's right.
It was 4th ed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I think 5e and Phandelver, they explicitly tell you to award full now.
You should.
Because it's like,
There's
guys,
no reason to not.
You're incentivizing.
You're incentivizing murder.
Yeah. I will say though, 4E was the first edition to say, hey, if you just say I knocked this thing out, they're knocked out, no questions asked. Where in 3.5 it was like subdual tracking damage.
Oh god, that was a nightmare. It was like, wait, so if I want to subdue, then it's none of the damage that we've done so far matters at all?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Great.
no thanks, I'll just kill the thing.
Exactly. It's like, oh, okay, well.
Never mind then.
I'm glad I have choices. Hey, I'd like a little wine, please.
Oh, for sure.
I'm basically out of coffee.
If you want me, how do we want to do this? Do we want to pour it on stream?
I don't care. Do whatever you want.
Boop. Oh. Boop.
There we go. Yes.
Boop. Boop.
Give me that sweet, sweet
I'll let you pour.
fermented grapey goodness.
Wine sounds good. It's wine time. It's wine o'clock.
It's wine o'clock. Oop, I might have poured my... I didn't realize... Oh, no. We've got enough for both of us to have the same amount.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was all of 4E, if it was a
wine
specific
from
thing I
last
read. That's perfect for me, thank you.
You are welcome.
I just remember reading it. I remember it was an older document, I think, and I read it. And I remember I was like, oh, that's really sad to read, that this used to be a thing. Cheers to D&D
Cheers.
and to art.
And to you guys.
To actually
you
making
folks at
art.
home. Where can I set this? There we go. Alright, good enough. Good enough.
Pyromancer says it should be 1.5 times XP, especially if the matches your alignment. So yeah. Think about if experience. Well, it begs the question. Like, think if that was the case.
Right.
Alignment is kind of ridiculous and problematic, but if it met your motivations, goals, ideals, and these systems existed.
Right. If you talked about like the driving forces for your character, and
like drives and goals.
For instance, like with Gilly, her drive to find alternatives to violence and alternatives to death, right? And the whole episode of Redemption, where she helps to find a peaceful end to the situation with Professor Vasilior and Cthulhu.
Yep.
Like, that directly plays into like one of Gilly's like motivations and drives. The same thing with Gallant, getting him to find peace and forgiveness, or at least start on that journey. That shit is like core Gilly.
So let's then think about that. Like, what if D&D were a game where, like, first of all, the XP isn't counted in thousands or hundreds, but more like ones and twos.
Yeah.
And that you basically had this matrix of my flaws, my ideals, my bonds, or whatever it is, motivations, judgments, whatever.
That kind of stuff.
And you basically, at the end of each session, did a little checkbox. Like, with the group talks about it, you do your checkboxing, and you get XP. And you get double XP whenever, like, you especially aligned everything you kind of did that night.
For instance...
It'd be a very different game.
For instance, like in Crash Pandas, you get an extra die when you're trying to do a thing that is core to your, like, character drive. Like, what your character backstory is.
Right.
Which is an interesting thing, especially since Crash Pandas is just like a little one-sheet mini RPG.
Yep. And there are games out there who use this system, but because D&D is kind of the Kleenex of tabletop RPGs, it always kind of
the Kleenex, the Q-tip.
Yeah, begs the question. Yeah, I didn't even realize Q-tip was a Q-tip thing.
Yeah, it's called a cotton swab, actually. Q-tip is a brand.
There you go. That's how ubiquitous these things are.
Exactly.
I like the hundreds. Oh, for XP. Yeah, I mean, you could, but I'm thinking of terms of, like, so if, like, the more large and complex numbers, more large and complex math, creating barriers and making it less likely people will do the thing, is why I'm saying those small numbers.
Okay, now I have the journey of trying to get heat back in this thing.
Kyle's going to get more wine. Cheers to that.
Cheers
to more wine.
Yes.
You gotta pump those numbers. Those are amateur numbers. So
This is a really good afternoon we're having.
Yeah.
It's really great.
It's funny. It's like an art stream, but it's like, we're a D&D. We're a tabletop RPG channel.
But we just sit here and just talk about like D&D and stuff. And
What else we
while
gonna talk
I
about?
happen to be making some art, kind of.
I mean, you are making art based on a thing you made for the show. So
Yeah, exactly.
maybe the next thing you make will be non-show related, and we'll talk more about that.
Incorrect. I will be making a DM screen next.
Okay, maybe in 6 months when you make something non-tabletop RPG related.
It will be cosplay.
For D&D?
Yeah.
All right. This is actually a D&D stream, folks.
I mean, it's not D&D, but
I
it's
know.
like D&D related. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's on brand.
I actually really like it.
Yeah, it's on brand.
Heading out. If you're still on stream in 45 minutes, I'll be live. Come on, big boy.
Oh.
I don't know if we'll be here because it's 5:30, but
You're gonna actually wear pants?
on brand. Never go off brand, folks.
On brand.
Thank you
Wine,
for your...
D&D related things, and maybe some artistic shit. On brand.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Thank you for your input, Pyromancer, who is just Rob on Ghost in the Machine, of course. Who... Has he ever played a fire? Well, Sylvius is very fire-based, and that's
Yeah.
his element.
I mean,
I was gonna say he's-
especially because you basically gave him that.
Well...
I don't know if he's all like was he? I'm trying to think because I don't know the things that you know, so I'm not gonna make any conclusions or anything based on things I don't know.
Well...
But the first thing fire-wise that I got to see him do, if I recall, was all because of the like he was going for the flame tongue dagger because we were given the opportunity to find the flicker of Kosuth, which was
Yeah.
a fire elemental gem.
Yeah, I think
I don't know if he like. I don't actually know the answer to whether or not he was going in the fire direction before that.
Look at him, his sad goes. That's interesting. Rob, was Sylvius always going to be a firebug before the flame tongue dagger? Because I think I chose flame tongue. I don't... Oh, that's another thing. Well, I'll get to it, but...
You don't know whether or not you chose flame tongue because of conversations you had with him or not.
Well, yeah, and his screen name, and I know how much he
right.
used to like to play a fire wizard.
Right,
so.
right.
I wasn't. Oh, well, then there we go.
So you railroaded him into that.
I did not railroad him.
I'm giving
He's
you
had
shit.
other magic. He had the
I
opportunity.
obviously am
Yeah.
not serious.
Because there was a psychic scimitar and other things he could have made and bought.
I was making the joke because you do not railroad
Right.
us.
But it is...
I
well,
do
it's-
not feel railroaded.
Okay, this might get a whole thing, but like, I think a lot about like, so going way back to planning and meta talking, and like planning not in terms of planning strategy, but planning narrative.
Right.
And I think a lot about how it happened that you guys became the prism, and the larger metaphors
You're
of the
welcome
world.
again. You're welcome again for that.
Well, and how each character, but the thing is, it developed organically. None of us
Yes.
ever talked about
Correct.
the prism, and like each of the characters have their own color.
Right.
An element, basically.
Sort
it just
of,
kind of. Well, I mean, you're
Yeah.
blue,
And icy because of where my character is
Right.
basically from,
Right.
kind of.
right? And Selena's green, and Justice is black, and so this is red. And it became this very interesting thing. But it fucks me up a little.
How good the name Prism is,
Yes.
based on everything going on in the
Because
world.
not only
and
does it relate to your guys' character, but it relates to the whole metaphor of the campaign.
You're correct.
With the arresting light.
It's almost as if I saw these things happening.
Right, but you saw what was happening based on 4 independent characters that were developing.
That's right.
And we never had that conversation.
We
about
never did.
In fact, I didn't even make the connection until we talked about the name of the prism after the fact.
And
A
I
month
talked about like how
The arresting
it reflected
light.
the arresting light going through a prism.
Yeah.
Like the arresting light is
Is a
basically
prism.
the prism.
Yeah, basically
that
all the
separates
dimensions.
out all the light,
Yeah.
like the magic, the light,
Yeah.
like all of that
Yeah.
into the different types and into the different like planes
Yeah.
and things like that. And
Yeah.
how before it was just a mix, an amorphous, and that pure white light of everything joined together. The
It's almost
prism-
as if we pay attention to you, Matt. Half the time, at least.
It's almost as if you beat us over the head with meta. I'm just kidding.
But my point is like, we
Sometimes
never
we need
had
to be
that
beat over the
conversation.
head. No, we didn't.
About your character's gonna be red, you're gonna be black, you're gonna be death, you're gonna be nature, you're gonna be joy,
right.
and you're gonna be like lineage. We never
Right.
had that conversation.
Never.
Not a thing that happened.
Not at all.
But then we ended up with you guys are like the Power Rangers. It was said one time, and then we kind of worked on that. The Prismatics, the Prismatic Rangers, and it ended up being the
Right,
prism, and it
right.
works so well. And so it's interesting. Like I do think that players in stream shows could be better suited with having some side conversations.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
interesting. Like the biggest thing that ever happened in our show happened organically.
Right.
What do
We
you
were
th-
just sitting
yeah, what do
there
you think?
having a conversation after we
After
had
the
all
fact.
just after I had brought them in prison to the table and we had decided on it, and it was a thing.
For like
we
a
were
month.
sitting home. We were sitting because you hadn't quite found a place yet,
No,
right?
I was
you were
living
still
with you
here.
guys.
We were having one of our post-game just hangouts and have a little wine in the sunroom. The solarium, if you want to be, yeah, because it's fun to say that. And we were just mulling things over and talking about what the themes were and stuff like that, because we hadn't really gotten into it before, not too much. And it blew your mind.
It did.
That
Fucks me up.
it really fucked you up that I had seen into that. Kind of the same way that Just a Lit Cigarette then with Johnny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm decent enough at seeing those things and
Right.
picking up on the symbols that
Right.
represent like the larger things going on.
Right, but it goes, and that was like the capstone on the 4 independent developments.
Right, right.
So it's
so crazy
it's
that
so
like
pretty
we
crazy.
fell into these things and it like developed organically.
And we didn't have to talk about them. Really.
That's right. It's really cool that happened.
Yeah.
Because I think what we've realized is, and that started to happen after you started to kind of slow down a little in your DMing and talk to us more through your DMing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that would have come around organically so much before that. I think that helped a lot. I think it facilitated that like coming together a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
Because I know you had all these things happening in your head, but they weren't always coming across to us.
Right. Well, they weren't. I didn't know about them either.
Right.
Is the thing.
And they're happening in the back of your head.
Yeah.
The more you articulate things to other people, the
Yes.
more you realize what is happening in your head and
Right.
the more you clarify it. It's the same way that you learn a lot about something that you know or you
Yeah.
do by teaching it to someone else.
Right.
It's
Right.
the same thing.
Right. So how do I explain this?
Like when I was teaching vocals for a while, I improved myself a lot
Right.
because I was like, oh yeah, these are things that I've just been taking for granted for this long now, and now it's like you're relearning them and you're sorting through like what you know and how you know it and why it
Right.
works.
Exactly. Yeah.
still don't have
It's
anything.
it's been a big learning experience. So Snake Doc says, I'm sure things happened organically after the mood was set, etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we, again, like Ghost of the Machine, we played for a couple months. We got to we started at level 4 because we'd been
Yep.
playing a long-term campaign and no one had interest in playing a level, like I didn't have much interest in playing level 1, 2, and 3.
Correct.
So we started at level 4, got to level 6, and then started the campaign.
I think that's the other thing when you are starting a campaign where you're like, okay, these are characters that I'm going to be invested in,
Yeah.
and that I want to see at least some level of long-term storytelling with this character. Starting at level 1 just feels like way too big a risk.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it's like
It's like, do you want me to
level
invest
1,
in this or
level
not?
2, level 3 are so risky to play
Yes.
at. And it is like you can be a lot of fun, but there is a lot of risk because as we have seen, one hit
Yep.
can put you down.
In Dragon Heist, so
And it's so much more likely that one hit will put you down
Yep.
when you're at these low levels.
oh, so it's like, do you want me to be invested in this thing or not? Is kind of the big question.
Oh, Wonky asks how many of the coasters are done. So I have been working off stream on one other coaster, and that one is close to done. But this one is the same one that I've been working on stream. And this one has been going slower, one, because this mother is not working very well for me, and two, because I get distracted talking in chat, and it just goes slower because I'm talking through things with you guys and looking at chat and hanging out and that kind of thing. And it's harder for me to tell whether or not I'm getting heat when I'm distracted with chat and stuff like that. So right now there are 2 that are in progress. One is closer to done than this one. To answer your question. Anyway, back to the D&D. I'm only going to do one of these on stream. The others I'm just going to do in like off camera. And after I'm done with this coaster, after I'm done making this, which I'm going to finish wood burning, and then I think I'm going to try adding some color stain to it. After I'm done with this, then I'm going to move on to the DM screen for Chase.
Cool.
So that will involve some wood burning, some sanding, like some staining, and some other just general figuring things out on how to create a DM screen that functions in a way that Chase wants it to.
Right. Making something personalized that you've never made before. Good luck.
Yeah.
That'll be
really
cool to watch.
This is why the title is Attempts.
Right.
Yep.
And so Snake Dog said you need players to articulate as well. That's exactly right.
Yes.
Communication is key in this thing. So we played from level 4 to 6 before the stream, had things develop because we were learning to be as a group.
Yep. We were learning how to play the way we wanted to play.
Right, in a
how
new
to tell
way.
a game,
Yes.
how to tell a story in the game the way that we wanted. We were trying to come to terms, like we were trying to figure out what we ourselves wanted from the game and how to achieve it together.
Yes. And then when we started the stream, it was then another learning experience.
Right, exactly.
Like, we can entertain each other, but how do we entertain others without sacrificing too much of what we play at the table?
And like Rob is saying, not only were we learning how to play the game together in this way, we were also learning what our characters were and how to play our characters.
Yes.
You know, there's one thing to have a concept of your character. It's another thing when you start actually playing it.
Yes.
Like, things come up organically that you don't plan for ahead of time.
Yep. So, like right now in Dragon Heisters, I had this idea about Johnny, the magical prostitute, the magical sex worker, as is more appropriate. But
Mr. Lit Cigarette, as it
I've
were.
been playing with Chris, Ty, and Alexis in another campaign where it's much more wholesome.
Right.
We're almost all lawful good, most of the most part.
We're
good.
I'm neutral good.
Yeah, we're like neutral. Yeah, I'm lawful good. We're all kind of good, wholesome characters that try to do the right thing most of the time, and we're like a family.
Yeah.
In this campaign, in Dragon Heisters, okay, well,
no, not as such.
We're all shifty. We're all shady as fuck. We're all criminals, and my character does not care for hers one bit.
Nope.
Period.
And
is like already open. They're already openly hostile towards one another.
Correct. Well, we're in the like. It's not even.
It's new. Like we're playing our characters. We're not.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, you're my best friend. Let's be best friends. It's
and
no.
we never talked about that at all.
No.
Like we didn't talk about what our characters were going to be.
No.
I knew generally what yours character was kind of going to be like, and you kind of knew like some basic mechanics of mine, but. You don't know anything about my backstory.
No.
I haven't shared with anybody except for my co-DM.
Right.
Like, he's the only person that knows some of the things, and I haven't even shared 100% with him because some of my backstory, if it comes into play at all, needs to be a surprise.
Right.
And there are things about his character that might bring up some of my backstory.
Right. So it's, in the at level 1, first session, I'm finding all these impulses to be like the dad of the group, like I am in Princes of the Apocalypse on the non-stream game.
Which is what happens when you have these like these reactive moments of cum gutters.
Yeah. No, cum gutters was pretty planned.
That's what I mean.
I was being my character.
Yes.
I misunderstood.
Because you're like, I have these wholesome inclinations.
Yes.
I
Yes.
need to make sure that
I
I
need to
am
break
driving
her.
the point home that
Yes.
this is the point of the character. This
Yes.
character is more vulgar, and this character is not polished, and blah blah blah. And so you
not
like,
educated.
and so you plan these moments so that you don't get caught up in the playing a different character.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's
Like, I've planned a couple things as Gilly to make sure that I'm not leaning into other ideas and other concepts, and that I'm driving certain points home that I want to drive home. Like planning out certain songs.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Like, you plan some things that you can plan for, and that helps other organic moments happen.
You think, like, this is what I'm going to say. So, Liz Wonkuyon says, when we get our second campaign, that'll be interesting to start completely new on a stream. That's going to be, and we're going to find the same thing where we're like, oh, wait, I'm not a shifty druid anymore. I'm not a wholesome, a noble anymore. I'm not a depressed elf. Oh God, how do I do this? What is this? We're gonna be relearning all over again,
which
but
kind
on
of happens,
stream.
which kind of happens in the one shots,
Yes,
you know, like,
yeah.
or even in Dragon Heisters, there was a moment where I reverted into my voice and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
persona, like basically the character that I had been playing with that same group.
Yeah.
Before, the one that where you're wholesome and everything.
Yeah, Princes we'll call it. Princes
Yeah.
of the it's a Prince of the Apocalypse game.
Right, where Ty and I are co-DMing that, and so we're taking we didn't know what that game was, what that group was going to be like, because the four of us had never played a game together. Matt had never even met Ty and Chris before, and I had barely knew Chris at the time either.
Right.
So, like, Ty and I were the only ones who had ever really played together. And then Ty and Chris had also played together. That was basically the extent of our experience playing any of these games together. So we were just like, we'll just play this thing. I didn't invest anything in really character backstory or anything like that, and neither did you.
Right.
We developed that later. We just wanted to see how things were gonna develop.
Right.
And now we have a really fun, cohesive group, and we're having a lot of fun playing together. So we decided, hey, let's shift over to Dragon Heisters, and we'll stream it.
And so TechnoSkull said,
We're finding all this shit out.
Wait, is the suggestion that a character who's vulgar and unpolished is somehow Matt playing against Ty? Here's what
No.
you have to understand.
That is Matt.
Yeah, that is me. Well, that's the joke he's making.
Yeah.
But you have to understand.
I'm afraid it's you playing against type.
Correct. And Ivar, for 7
Yes.
years, I have played in our home game a king, a lord who is stubborn. Well, I am stubborn, but who is serious and like lacks a certain sense of humor,
Yeah.
is undiplomatic,
Yeah.
is brazen, is not terribly vulgar.
Didn't know things about like history.
Doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
Is like emblazoned by his magical cloak. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so in Princes, I play a very
He was Ivar the Plunderer.
right. And in Princes, I play a very studious wizard. Well, he's not that studious, but he's a furball wizard, so he's kind of like a country bumpkin wizard.
Yeah.
But he's very even keel. He's very like he's not terribly vulgar, although he has a little that in me, me and
Yeah.
him, and those things like that. So I do play against type. Johnny is more me playing me.
Yep, correct.
And someone I used to know.
Yep. Because we draw on people that we know in our experiences.
Don't game anymore.
Normie game.
What have I done? What have I done? My kingdom is to ashes. Oh no.
This fucking normie game. Get it out of my
Normie
sight.
game.
You don't
Normie
need this
game.
shit anymore.
Yeah. Get that normie game out of my sight. Oh no, I'm gonna tweet this out.
Amazing. I had heat for a second. You could see it glow.
There was
So
almost
I've
some art.
decided. Here we go. Okay. Here's what I've decided. I turn it way up to find where the heat is, so that I have that visual representation of that I have heat, and then I turn it down. What just happened?
I'm sorry. Kyle has.
He's already tweeted.
Kyle Normie Gamer Maxwell on Twitter. You son of a bitch.
I love you so much, Kyle. Oh my
You
god,
son
this
of
is
a
the best. This is the best. Oh my god, that just made my day. Kyle.
Oh my god.
Kyle.
Kyle is such a
You
troll.
are the hero.
Kyle is so troll, dude.
You are the hero we deserve, for sure. Oh man. You're the hero Matt deserves. My love and respect for Kyle just skyrocketed.
He's dude. He's
I mean,
so
it was
troll.
already pretty high. It just skyrocketed. Normie gamer. Oh my god. So good. Oh my god. By the way, those of you at home who aren't following Kyle on Twitter, you should do it. TechnoSkull. Oh my god.
I'm tweeting. Dude, Kyle is so troll. People have
Oh
no
my
idea.
god, it's the best.
Like you think he's like even keel and like, but he's seriously. It's the best. I'm so glad to know those people from Great Rules and know Kyle. I can't express it enough. Yeah, I don't know if that's tweeting or not.
You guys were so great on the first game that you played with Invariant Rules. I was just like, I need these people in my life.
That was a once-in-a-lifetime thing where it's like, hey, five strangers, let's play this game. Oh god, this is going to be awkward and uncomfortable and no one's going to have fun. It's like, oh, we're family now.
You guys were great.
Yeah. We have a group chat to this day in Discord where we all chat.
That's so great.
Yeah. All right.
I actually meant Blades in the Dark. I don't know if that's what you were
I'm sorry. I was talking about Goners.
Because that was the first time
that
you
was the
were
first
on.
time, yeah, sorry.
And that was the first time you also played with
Kyle.
Kyle.
Yeah. It was. That group, that was like my first introduction, but we didn't like have a group chat after.
Right.
It was just Kyle, like we're all friends.
It's your
like,
Dungeon of the Mad Mage, where now you have the group chat and
where
you're like,
we
okay.
really gelled as a group.
That's
a
right.
group. I of course love Corey, I love Alex, I love Knock, and I love Kyle, but we're not as a group.
I'm just kidding. Can I guess?
Corey tweeted out
that
he's gonna run Blades in the Dark soon.
Ooh.
So yeah, he's got his, or in Discord he said it.
In one of, I think it was the very first stream that we did of Alexis attempts art. We made, and I think Kyle actually was the one who clipped it. Kyle and Alex,
Your
I think
plea?
both. Yeah, my plea to Corey.
God,
They both tweeted it.
I already changed my Twitter feed. The Twitter change is just amazing. I've never done any con gaming. No, I went to Gen Con last year and we just kind of toured it.
I did
feeling awkward.
one con game. I did one, and it was because one, we were at Gen Con, and two, because I was desperate to play some 5th Ed and nobody around me was running it.
Yeah.
I was desperate. So I made a point of like, well, I want to play a pickup game of 5th Ed at Gen Con because I want to get my feet wet in it, and nobody, like, I had the books, but I had never run a game, let alone run a game that I didn't know the mechanics for or like anything like that. So it was, I just wanted to get my feet wet in 5th Ed, and it was really great, and I had a decent experience, and I am gonna run some unofficial, at least one unofficial game at Gen Con this year. I've talked about it a little bit.
Where is? Well, hold on. I will be back on stream a little bit.
Okay.
Entertain the normies.
I shall do such. Are you ready to be entertained? If you weren't already.
Normie, I'm an affiliate on Twitch.
Oh boy. Ooh, that got dark. Just like some other things in this conversation have gone. The hell was I saying? So, con gaming. So, I'm going to Gen Con this year. We are all going to Gen Con. All of us at Dice Priori are going to Gen Con. It's going to be a blast. We're very excited. We will be running a couple official games, I think. Official events, which you can sign up for. We're waiting on approval, I think, for them still. But the plan is to run a few. But I will definitely be running at least one game in 5th Ed. And I will be running it. The idea is for me to run it in full Jester cosplay as Jester, set on like the Menagerie Coast, or in Tal'Dorei or something like that. So I don't know where that's going to be or when yet, but that's a thing I want to do, and I already have a couple people who have been begging me to play in it. So.
I'm back, normies.
Prepare yourselves.
Twitch affiliate coming through. Move out of my way.
You should text Chase to pick up like 8 bottles of port.
Correct. These are the correct decisions.
But for real, if we're having gravy and ravioli tonight, we should get some more wine, because would you mind texting or messaging him? Chase, if you're watching.
Chase, if you're watching, get us wine.
Get us wine. It's for him too.
We'll let him have a skosh.
A skosh. Okay, before that episode of Dragon Heisters, I had never heard, nor said, nor typed the word skosh that many times in an hour. Skosh. So thank you, Ty, for that one.
You never used the word skosh before?
No. It's not I had never used it or heard it. I knew what it was, and I had heard, like,
But
I
it
had
wasn't
said
part
it.
of your vernacular.
It wasn't anything that came into, like, that amount of frequency.
Right.
I was like, holy, okay.
Is Origins in Chicago? We're in the burbs, though. You gotta understand.
What is Origins?
I don't know what Origins Game Fair is.
Oh no, how do we not know these things?
I've heard of it.
You shut up, Rob. It is gravy and you know it, you troll.
You mispronounced sauce.
It is gravy because I made
right.
it with meat in it.
Someone said Cleveland, one of y'all said Columbus. Thank you.
Alright then.
Columbus. Okay. Alright, I know some of those words. I used to live in Ohio. Half of your Sunday group lives there. That's wild.
Wow.
Well, time to go to Origins. Oh, well, Rob's hit a link. That's really useful. Let me just pull up a link on chat.
Yeah.
That's true. No, that is actually good. I'll look it up later. I've looked it up before, but I don't remember anything about it.
I think I did too. I can't remember now that I think about it because I've seen so many smaller gaming conventions lately. Oh, like for instance, Big Bad Con or whatever
Something
the hell
like
it's
that.
called. But you know, somebody's getting married that weekend,
That's
so
right.
I can't fly out to the West Coast and go to a gaming convention.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't
Just
know.
get married out in the West Coast. You know who you are.
See, my job is basically breakneck pace in the summer, so leaving during the summer for both, well, because Gen Con's effectively in the summer too, right? It's in August? It's in the late summer? And so going twice in the summer is probably not going to be in the cards for me,
Right.
unfortunately.
I hear you.
My job is nonstop in the summer, so
It is. It's rough.
yeah. It'll literally be 3 months of madness, and then I'll come out the other side of it, so.
This summer is wild
Yeah.
over there. I have worked many of them.
Yep. So, I don't think Origins is in the cards for me, but
At
maybe
least not
other
this
members
year.
of Dice Priority could go. You know, that's up to them. That's an independent decision they make as
What
people.
weekend is it?
12th? I don't know.
12th, June 12th through 16th. Oh God, no. My sister-in-law is expecting right around then. It's not happening for me.
There you go. We'll just, yeah. Drawla Con.
And
Yeah,
I want to be available to help as much as I can for that.
Gary Con's very accessible for us. I wish we would have went, but
We should have gone, but we also, like, we were at a point where we were so busy.
Yeah.
It was really hard to plan for that.
yeah.
And also, there was enough. I also don't feel super great about how certain events were handled regarding certain people.
Right.
And I think Kyle can definitely
Right.
feel my drift on that. Like,
Right.
oh, you're no longer a guest of honor, but we're not going to remove you from the con. We're not going to say you can't show up.
Lordy,
It's
why
like-
were you a guest of honor in the first place?
Yeah, so we will recognize that there is a problematic element to this person, and they won't be like a guest of honor.
Right.
So we'll recognize that much, but because he's OG,
Right.
you still get to come,
Right.
and you still get to endanger the safety, whatever kind of safety, right? You still get to be in this environment where it's antithetical
Yeah.
to what we want
Right.
the experience of this convention to be.
Right.
That dissonance there, it didn't sit with me very well.
I think they
And
did eventually.
I don't think so. Gen Con did ban
Gen Con did.
the other person.
Yeah.
These are two different people that we're talking about, though. Gen Con with banning was Zach.
Okay.
And, yeah. I just didn't feel... Because of how that was handled, I didn't feel very inclined to move, to move Earth, to move mountains in
Yeah.
order to be able to go to Gary Con.
Next year we'll go. Well, it's very likely we'll go.
Next year is very likely we'll go, but hopefully that attitude will change.
Yeah, I didn't know that about Gary.
Yeah.
Gary Con. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
happens. Is an email.
Sorry, I'm getting caught up on chat. And yes, Kyle, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that is the individual we're talking about. But yeah. It's, yeah. It's like, okay. Like I said, it's that dissonance of, we're going to recognize that there's a problematic element of a person to the point where we're going to say, you're not, we're removing you from a VIP status of this convention.
Right.
But we're not banning you. We're saying to people who want to come to this convention that we recognize that this person has threatened your safety in one manner or another.
Right.
And is in some way a toxic element. But we're still going to let them come here.
Come to our convention, but keep one eye open. That's not a great message.
It's like, it's almost worse than just not removing them from VIP status, actually, in my mind. Because leaving them as VIP status is like, well, you know...
They're scheduled, at least.
We don't believe that they're a toxic element. Like, once you say, yes, you're a toxic element,
right,
but you still can show up here, what is this?
Right.
What is this?
Right.
And that, I was just like, well, I'm kind of actually okay with not going.
Right.
Because like I said, to me it's actually almost feels worse. Oh, we recognize this, but your safety isn't actually that important to me.
Yikes, yeah. Well,
What's happening?
A no to NT RPG con then. Fuck that noise, as they say.
Ooh, yeah. Nope. Yeah.
You pick your cons wisely, I guess.
Yeah.
Very excited for Gen Con, though, coming up this year. That's going to be really great. Gen Con last year was a blast, and we barely scratched the surface.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be great playing with the folks that we know and just kind of and getting to know everyone. And Goth Night, I think, is going to be a thing. And
yeah, I am definitely going to find or make some sort of Goth Night.
Yeah.
That's happening. If I can't find an appropriate goth event on a night
we'll
that
throw
works,
our own.
We are going to throw our own.
Yes.
I don't care if it's in one of our hotel rooms. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't like if I just have to DJ something myself in the room. Like we'll bring a speaker, a set of Bluetooth speakers or something. We'll just make it happen. Yes. We're going to make it happen.
I need to get like a running list of everyone we know that's like going to Gen Con because I know Emma's going. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Alex is going.
Yeah.
Question mark. And then Techno Scald, are you going to Goth Night? Or Goth Night? Gen Con? He is, right? I'm pretty sure he is. Because I'm starting. There's now so many people we know coming that it's going to be like, what is this?
Yep. I'm happy about it though.
And then, did you guys see how Greyhawk Channel has their own hostel that they bought out?
It's like there's almost no rooms left at this point.
Oh, I bet. But that's so cool that they did that.
We should
join
really
them
cool.
next year.
We should.
Yeah, that's our jam next year, man.
We should see it. You know what we should do?
I'm not going to Gen Con. That's right.
We should look and see if there are any other hostels that we could just rent out next year.
See, to me, Dragon Con, is that the one in Atlanta?
Dragon Con has been a lot of fun.
That's too much for me, the mere idea of it. Gen Con didn't feel that big. It was decent.
Again,
now, this is me, my experience, not yours. But, like, to me, it felt manageable, and I was very happy with its size. There felt like a lot to uncover, but I didn't feel overwhelmed. It was like, okay, this thing's over here, this thing's over there.
You want to come to C2E2 with me? Me and Chase?
I've never been.
C2E2 is great.
I guess if you guys are going, I can just hitch a ride.
I'm sad that Critical Role isn't going this year. They went last year, and I went in my Jester cosplay. I got to meet a handful of the cast, and I brought them all pastries. It was great. But, I really enjoyed C2E2 more. Like, last year, I enjoyed C2E2 a lot because of Critical Role. However, it's been getting, year after year, it's been getting bigger, and the planning aspect has been getting worse, I think.
They're too big
Wizards.
for the
So Wizard, what is it called? WizardCon? Whatever the
something
hell.
like that.
Wizard World Chicago. So it's colloquially called Chicago Comic Con, but that's not actually the con's name. That is like what C2E2 has been experiencing, but like tenfold. And Chicago Comic Con happens out in Rosemont,
Yeah.
whereas C2E2 happens in McCormick Place in the city.
Mm.
And so
That's
you
a whole
all,
other thing.
yeah, whole other thing. But C2E2, in the first years where I started going regularly, like not my very first year at C2E2, but the first years where I started going regularly, was really, really good. But after a few years, like the planning aspect had really started to taper off a
We're
little
talking
bit.
about the convention planners, the
Yes.
con planners.
Yes. And like where spaces are and like how much room you have to move through things and just the ease of attending the con and the ease of getting to things that you want to go to see.
Yeah.
Just the planning aspect of the convention itself
Yeah.
which as it grows is going to be more difficult to manage, so maybe some of that is just growing pains. But, you know, it's not gotten to the point where I don't want to go.
Gen Con.
Whereas Chicago Comic Con got to the point where I was like, well, that's the first con that's going to fall off of my radar.
Right.
Dragon Age.
Dragon Con.
Dragon Age is a great game. Dragon Con is what I was meaning to say. You're right. Dragon Con is a whole other animal. It's like, because it takes place not in like a convention center. They have 5 different hotels that it takes
Yeah,
place
that's
in.
wild.
And that's not even counting where all the merchant hall is. Like, and if you want to go buy things from like the vendor hall, it's in a different building than the rest of the convention. Because it's that big. And that's where the space is in Atlanta. It's like, well, it's in all these hotels where a lot of conventions happen, but it's in 5 of them because there are so many things happening. And they don't plan very well because you end up sitting for an event, like waiting in line, which is in a hallway that is very crowded.
Right.
No thank you, ma'am, huh?
I love Dragon Con. But it's mostly because I love the experience of cosplay, and I also love a lot of these fandoms, and I love being able to go to these panels and these big things and all this stuff. And I really do enjoy the experience of Dragon Con, but it does have its elements where it's like, well, don't you think this thing could be managed a little bit better?
That's fair.
And it is overwhelming if you are not a fan of like crowds and having to, you know, navigate your way in a crowded downtown. And did I say crowds? Because oh my god, crowds and small spaces with a lot of people. If you are not good at handling that sort of thing for like 5 days,
Right.
and you're not local, then is it worth it to go?
Yeah, Dragon Con, I would have to be at the level to where like I'm getting invited to go. You know what I mean? Like, and we're doing things like
Right.
and like we're
Like showing up in a panel and that
it would
kind
have
of
to
thing.
be job. It would have to be a job because I could not handle Dragon Con. I still have that. I hate going to crowds. Like I don't go to like the 4th of July celebrations for that reason. I hate.
Oh, I'm playing a 4th of July show, by the way.
Not going to that one.
In the band, yeah.
I
think
will support
it's
you
just,
from afar.
I don't think it's a huge show. I have to get the details from the band, but I think it's more of like a block party thing. But still, it's a block party in the city.
You do software support, I think, right? So your whole job is to go to conferences. Good. You've made poor choices. Those are poor. That's a series of poor life
Cheers
choices.
to that one, though.
Taliesin had that great line where it was the wizard chain lightning Keyleth, which dropped him from the whirlwind, which tossed him into the reverse gravity, which and the chain lightning then knocked Scanlan unconscious, and then he fell into the thing and died. The wizard did when he attacked it in that one episode. And Taliesin goes, that was a series of poor life choices.
Yep. God. Taliesin has so many
Not
really
software
good
repair.
one-liners.
I am thinking of Nox. I You told me once what you do, but
All we have to do is look at
Right.
the most recent D&D Beyond job posting, and that's essentially what his skill set is, right, Kyle? I
Oh,
think
did
that's
he?
what you said.
did he apply? Oh,
No, because you
That's
have
just
to
what
be
he
local
does.
to the headquarters in order to
Right.
do those jobs.
yeah, that's right. Knox does soft product support, and then Corey does something techie like that. The program committee for a conference, and that's why I have to go. Dang. Yeah, you did just get back from one, and now you're going to another one, so.
Yeah, oh boy. You do get to work remotely, though, at least.
That's kinda
So,
cool.
That is nice. That you only have to, like, fly into headquarters occasionally.
Who wants to move to Alabama? Alabamans. Good answer.
Good. Yep.
That is true. Hey, home is where the heart
Hey,
is.
some Alabamans don't even want to move to Alabama.
I
Like, they would move out if they could.
I
You
lived
know
it-
what I mean?
I lived in Alabama for a summer. I think it was a summer. It was like 3 or 4 months.
And you no longer live there. Point made.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I'm sure there are places in Alabama that are perfectly lovely and great to live in.
D&D Beyond it. Wait, but is D&D Beyond based in Birmingham? Because Birmingham's pretty cool.
I don't even think it is Birmingham.
Oh no. Is it like Huntsville?
Kyle mentioned where it was.
Where is it in Alabama?
In the Discord. I can't remember where.
That is a series of poor life choices. Having your corporate headquarters in anywhere that's not
Correct.
They're in Huntsville.
Oh, they are in Huntsville. Yep.
It's got a.
Because it's where NASA is?
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize that. Well, so then that's
Okay.
not too bad if you live in Huntsville or Birmingham.
I guess that's where NASA is, so it's okay.
I met a very nice couple where one guy was a lawyer and the other guy was cute for a living, and they were going to Birmingham. They talked to me about it. Like, it's actually really great because I told them about how much I hated Alabama living there. Like,
Yeah.
well, you know, you were in the sticks. We're going to Birmingham. I'm like, yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
So that's not so bad.
Wonky makes a good point. NASA,
Right,
I need to remember that every time I'm freaking out as Gilly. That, like, I don't work for NASA. My choices are not going to cost people their lives.
Yeah, the race element is a thing because the two men that I talked to are both white. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I can't imagine living in that area with that kind of
God,
conversation.
no, me either.
I'd rather die.
Right. Some people do.
Yep. For sure, Tucker Skull.
Yeah.
Chase said he was picking up more wine.
Chase is the best, guys.
Why are we in Illinois again? Yeah, no, fair point. I only like it here because I get to do Ghost in the Machine and you guys
It's
live
the
around
people
here.
that were around that
Yep.
make it worth
Yep.
living here.
Yep.
That is 100% why.
Yep, that's it. That's honestly it. If we ever got big, I'd want to move out to Southern California. That's the truth. But that'll never happen. We'll never be able to all like do that. But you know,
The boobs in
I'm just saying.
California. Southern California.
What's that song called?
The boobs in California
California.
are the greatest boobs around.
Boobs in
Whoa.
Boobs in California. The old Boobs in California song. From
The old Lovin' Kimmy Schmidt trick. Seen it 1,000 times. What
yeah,
are they
Texas
saying?
is not great.
Yes, you see, both Laura and Travis of Critical Role are from Texas, and they no longer live there.
Yep. Yeah, no.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. There is always going to be the whole grass is greener syndrome.
A little bit, yeah.
No matter where you live, I think there is always going to be some element of that.
Yeah.
So I try to always keep that in mind when I think about the reasons that I don't want to live where I live.
Right. But then there's also the realities of like, hey, the place I live sucks.
Yeah, there are very valid reasons to not want to live where you live.
Yep. And that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't mind the burbs. I don't mind burb life, Chicagoland life. I really like the city. I wish I lived in the city proper right now.
Yeah.
But obviously logistics.
There are elements of the city that I really, really very sorely miss.
I miss the city so much. I love
It's
living
way
in
too
Chicago.
fucking white out here.
It's super white.
It's super
It's really white in this room, Alexis.
Super fucking white and heteronormative and bullshit. It's just... You have to work so much harder in order to get you know, that element of diversity in your life, and to get like the toxic heteronormative, like just normative bullshit out of your life. You have to work so much harder to get that out.
The burbs, yeah. I work for a bunch of Republicans.
Hey, I live in a demographic where there is a lot of very red bullshit out where I live. But, much to the chagrin of those motherfuckers, we recently elected a young black woman to Congress.
That's right.
So, I take pride in that.
There are diverse suburbs, but they're much, much closer to the city.
Yeah.
But honestly, actually, like, Chicago is very, very gentrified. It's very.
It's
there
bad.
actually aren't that many diverse
so
suburbs.
bad.
There are diverse neighborhoods. There aren't that many diverse suburbs at all. There's basically the black boroughs, like not boroughs, suburbs, and the white suburbs. That's pretty much how it is. And then the north, you get some of the Asian suburbs and Latinx. So.
Yeah.
It really is like that. It really is
It's
like that.
It's been a while since I lived in Pilsen.
Yeah, it's getting gentrified.
It was definitely in the process of certain areas of Pilsen were already being gentrified while I lived there.
Yeah.
Not where I was, not quite where I was, but areas very close to where I was.
I live in near Aurora, so I am at least close to some kind of diversity.
Right, correct. And that's where I used to be closer to that.
Yeah. But I work for a bunch of white bread, so here we are.
Correct. But, you know, now your voice is there amongst all of that bullshit, and you had some influence there that, you know, wasn't there before.
Yep.
Which is good. It's something.
It has been good for them.
It's something.
The boobs in California.
Have you watched the most recent?
No.
Oh, God, it's so good. Because you remember that cliffhanger that the middle of that last season ended on?
Yeah.
Oh, the payoff is so good, Matt.
Good.
The payoff is amazing.
Kimmy Schmidt, folks.
Kimmy Schmidt is a fun show. What white nonsense is this?
What nonsense is this? Titus is a gift.
Yeah, he's a gift we don't deserve.
Yeah, there's Polish. Again, suburbs is a strong word when you're talking about this stuff. Like,
correct, yeah.
It's neighborhoods more so in Cheetown. Like, there are Polish neighborhoods. There's Little Ukraine. There's the Ukrainian village, things like that. But
right.
And Chicago itself is a beautifully diverse,
Yes.
but it's also segregated.
Yeah.
And the suburbs are not diverse and even segregated to that point. So it's and you can look at the math and the demographics and kind of see the more. I'm painting with a broad brush here, but
right.
It really is like that out here. It's brutal.
Basically, if you want to see how wide a neighborhood is, ask a realtor what the school district is like.
Right.
A good school district means it's super fucking white.
Yeah, cities changed a lot in those 16 years. That's for sure.
And what we consider white has changed a lot in the last, like, over decades.
Yep.
It changes a lot.
Yep.
For instance, when my family moved here. Nope.
Right. Now they are.
But now most people would consider me super white bread. Just such interesting dynamics in this country, don't you think?
Interesting is one way to describe them.
Ew. I don't have enough wine to have this conversation.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I finished my wine, so you're gonna see me not talk about this anymore.
Let's get back to D&D, folks.
Let's talk about. We've talked about a lot of the things bumbling around in my head, and my thoughts are the most important. So.
Are you forgetting whose show this is?
Looks like mine.
don't see your name on the screen.
Let's talk about Artificer. What do people think about the Artificer? That
I
they just
haven't looked
released?
at it yet. I need to.
You've got to.
Well, I am, kind
it's-
of busy
it's-
running a lot of shit.
You're
Juggling.
you're contractually obligated to.
I will do it. I need to, but I just haven't had a chance. So why don't we take this opportunity for you all to tell me what the new Artificer looks like?
So they have this turret, that thing. So they got rid of kind of the gunsmith and they've named it something else. I forget what it's called.
Interesting.
And it's now more. It's called. I actually need to read it closer. But basically, one of the archetype subclasses can summon this turret, and it can do all these things. And that's what I'm gonna live for.
Nice.
Living turret. See, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or homunculus. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And it's a very tactical, and interesting class.
Very cool.
Yeah, they just added it to D&D Beyond.
Right, I did notice that was a thing that just happened. That it's available for playtesting now on D&D Beyond.
You can summon up to 3 turrets at a time at high enough levels, right. I was going to say, the base version, you can only summon 1 at a time.
It's more turrets than anyone else gets to summon.
For sure.
Very interesting.
Right. Only if your DM allows guns, because, not every setting has guns.
Correct.
Mine does.
Correct.
But
yours definitely does, yeah.
I have space guns in mine.
Space guns!
That was before the stream, though. No one's seen, like, a Lang model rifle in the...
Oh, God.
On the stream. Yeah.
Oh, God.
The laser rifle. Yeah. Sounds... That's funny. He said sounds uncomfortable for the gunslinger. She said stuff it into the gunslinger. I mean...
Who said what?
So the turret one is the one you can shove into the gunslinger. He says sounds uncomfortable for the gunslinger.
It does sound uncomfortable. Just shove the turret into the gunslinger.
Yes, D&D talk. We're talking about Artificer and what we think about it. I didn't give the class a super close look. I basically looked at a couple of the core features, because I was most interested in what they were going to do with Gunsmith, and they took it in a very cool direction. I kind of missed the whole Thunder Cannon thing and stuff. I thought that was actually really cool, but apparently it was not popular. So, but I think the turret stuff looks really dope.
I hadn't done a deep enough dive into the Artificer when it was first around to really be able to compare and contrast it all, but...
I really liked the Gunsmith and Alchemist one, like the one that had those two. I thought it worked very well, but other people didn't feel that way, apparently.
Gotcha. Gonna do the old heat check again.
Oh, an all Artificer one-shot? I mean, if someone wants to run it...
Yep, I mean, if somebody wants to run that, I'd play it. I have already more one-shots than I can run right now. Which you and I still need to... The hot tub got fixed today, by the way.
The what?
The hot tub got fixed today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we need to have a conversation about the one-shot idea that I have set in Edda.
Right.
You need to school me on a couple of things so that I can actually run it well.
Right.
We got plans cooking.
Oh man, the Warlord. I can't begin.
Can we move away from that? Can we move away from that bullshit? Look at how fun this character is I rolled that rolls no dice whatsoever.
The Warlord. See, people get so horny for the Warlord from 4th edition, and like I respect that.
I made this character that actually doesn't actually do anything except passive shit for everybody else.
The worst among us.
What is this?
It was, yeah.
Look how fun this is. No.
Professor Enoch was kind of cool. No, he was just straight Artificer though. Rob's thing. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the Warlord. I hope they never figure out that archetype in 5e.
Please no.
I understand that the Artificer is kind of leaning towards that direction, but it's still different.
The only way I can see that would be a good contribution for a party is if you are playing in a small group where the DM is also playing a player character.
Right.
Where then you get to have this DM player character not actually have to do much in terms of
Right.
manage mechanics in combat.
Right.
That I can recognize as valid. Anything other than that, it's like, why? If
Right.
you are playing a player character and not DMing at all,
Yeah.
in the least,
Yeah.
why would you play a character that doesn't do anything?
Right.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's how I feel about it.
What's DMPC? Yes. Dragon Heisters has a DMPC.
2 DMPCs.
It actually works fine.
Yep. 2 DMPCs.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
One at a time, though.
Yep, correct. But at the same time, we're both playing the DM in some regard all the time. Like in Princes, that's how it worked out. Like there were moments where I needed to step in and say, "All right, during this long rest, Ty, you're having a dream because of your patron."
Yeah.
Even though he was DMing that session.
Right.
Or we'd get to some NPCs that I had concocted or that Ty had concocted.
Right.
So we'd shift frames of who's DMing in that moment.
Yeah.
So you're kind of almost always running DM and PC at the same time when you co-DM in that fashion.
Nope. You watch Dragon Heisters, man. It works out. We've been doing it in Princes. It's been fine.
It
So if
actually
you're
works. If you, it can work.
If
It's
you
not that it will always work, but it can work.
If you were co-DMing, a DM NPC makes a lot of sense for
It
obvious
does.
reasons.
It does. That way you can both surprise each other. Like
Yeah.
you both get the experience of playing a character and getting the surprises of being in a campaign where, you know, your backstory can be utilized in a way that you weren't anticipating, or somebody from your backstory shows up and changes the current narrative. Or for instance, in Princes, Ty was playing a warlock. And he didn't know anything about his patron. I cooked all that up. So even in the moments where Ty was DMing a session, I might say, "All right, you're getting a dream though."
Yeah, that's fair as fair. Like, I'll say, like, it's not the easiest thing to manage, but...
No,
when
not
you're
necessarily, but it's not unmanageable.
When you're a small group, it's helped us. It's been cool.
Yeah, and then you both get the experience of being a player, which is really nice. And in the right game with the right people, where you can just kind
With
of
co-DMing. Because I don't think a
co-DMing.
DM PSE belongs in a game that isn't co-DM.
I don't know
Unless
if
it's like
Ty has ever played in a game where he didn't DM and also be a PC. Like, I don't think he's ever DM'd without also having a PC.
Really? Interesting.
I don't know for 100% whether or not that's true, but I get the feeling that it is.
Interesting.
Because of the games that I've both played in with him and heard about.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that if not all, most of the games that he has DM'd or GM'd, he has also played in.
Not too sure about that one, Chief.
But they also haven't had like 6 players.
Right.
They've had like 3 or 4 players.
In a larger group, I really don't think it has a place.
I agree. But especially if you're the forever DM
Yeah.
and you're playing in a small group and you don't ever get the experience of just playing,
Yeah.
having a DM PC is better than having no PC.
I just didn't, you know.
That, which is fair. It's totally valid to also not. But I think there is, some validity to having a DM PC, as much as we like gag about it or put our noses up. There are moments where you're just like, well, this is the situation, and maybe it's less than ideal, but this is the only way I get to play. Or we're small enough that this group kind of, it feels better to be a little more fleshed out, so you throw a DMPC in there. Or for our instance, in Dragon Heisters, we have 2 DMs and only 4 players total, including the 2 DMs. So, throw in your DMPCs. We get to be DMs and PCs. It's nice.
Technoscald says, I prefer Forever DM, honestly. I don't enjoy just playing. Hey, what's up?
Hello.
Hi!
Chase has joined us. Well, he's home.
So Kyle doesn't, prefers to forever DM rather than play?
I-
Or rather than DM PC?
Correct. I think both.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
And
buddy.
that's completely valid also.
How's it going?
There's nothing saying that you have
Just
to
chit-chatting.
enjoy being a player over being a DM or want to play instead of DM sometimes. Some people, it's perfectly valid to just prefer to DM or prefer to be a player.
I'm also here now.
Hello.
Hello. Us just like going to town on Matt. Like a tongue in each ear.
It's a very different streaming service.
Right, exactly. What's legal? What's allowed? We just don't show nips.
Just no nipple, right? That's the rule on Twitch.
Right.
Not understanding.
Excellent. Yeah, just full on penetration.
Oh God.
Dolph Lundgren.
Please no. What is this?
This stream just leveled up.
Stream. It's the three of us.
The stream did level up.
If the people knew.
If only,
Hey,
if
the hot
only
tub's,
the people
the hot
knew.
tub's fixed.
Yeah, sure. Yep, she told me.
Excellent.
Oh, you know what?
Just staring. Go away.
So, yeah. How long is...
We didn't check to see
47 minutes.
I don't know if we heard about this week or not. If Wonky and Pyro were planning on playing
was it?
Divinity.
Yeah, they are. Actually, that's what I was going to ask.
Okay.
They're planning on playing tonight.
Oh, then we should get going.
Yeah.
I suppose we can get off of our bullshit for now.
What time are you guys going to start, Pyro?
Oh, you have all the liquids.
So many liquids.
All right, count out which liquids do you have? We'll tell you where you're lacking.
Liquid metal. They're going to hop on whenever you guys hop off. That'll be a fun
Okay.
transition.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. After they're done, I should just stream Anthem then after. It'll be
Then
like...
I should do cocaine and stream Ghost in the Machine by myself.
Yeah.
For all the good that you four are.
Oh yeah,
Here's how it should have happened.
You just go to each chair, like you talk like an
My name's Justice.
Oh, my people. Indeed.
The flight of the Warforged. Fucking loser.
Yeah.
Kick over the chair.
Piece of shit. God. That milk toast, cis, white piece of human garbage.
What is this?
I love our little setup down here.
It is
I love
nice.
I love all the tech stuff.
It's nice. I like how I have like my two gothy shelves,
My goth shelves. Yeah.
and then I left all of your shit everywhere else.
Medicated soft drinks. That's nice.
What is this? Wait, where am I missing?
All the
this?
fluids. The liquids.
Oh my god, okay. So, beer, water. Oh, you asked wine or tea. Why don't you just have both?
Just mix them up.
No,
Tea
just
wine,
have
yeah.
separate.
We
Twiney.
or time,
Twine.
as we like to
Twine.
call it. Twine.
Just drink twine, apparently.
Speaking of which, I have 3 bottles upstairs. How was that?
Oh,
one?
good. You got no answer, so you got both. Good.
I didn't
Have
really
wine
taste
and
it, I just
tea.
kind of chugged it all at once.
That's fine. I mean, honestly, if you just butt chug it, it gets you there faster.
That's what I meant. I butt chugged it all at
Butt
once.
chugging in the one.
What is happening over here?
We're talking about how Matt boops his wine.
Okay, so just so that you are aware of what just happened. So
It looks like I'm
Matt
petting
and
your
I
hand.
together talked about D&D a lot.
Yeah.
The moment Chase gets here, it goes to boofing.
It's because he's my one true love.
Well, it's-
How are you, darling?
just swallowing my tongue.
French kissing
Hey.
behind Alexis.
Better you than me.
Tongue punching my fart box. Behind Alexis.
Alright.
So I work a normal job.
I hope all your children are
Or
What
watching.
is happening?
Or I have to be like a normal human being, like a functioning one. So I come home and I have to let it all out.
That's right. That's right. Which is my
Over.
life, folks.
Oh, just, yeah.
It's my life. That's what my life consists of. Hi.
Now this is worth the sub. Yeah, this is the content people want to see.
Just content.
Yep. Let it all out.
Let it all out. Just blowing our content load just on stream. I should have my own
My
channel.
God.
It's just Insanity with Chase. And
You
it's
do
an
have your
hour
own
of me
channel.
talking.
You can use it.
Yeah, but who's gonna watch me?
No one.
No one. That's the whole point of why you should put all that shit on your own channel where no one will ever see it.
It's just the archive. Remember when people used to tell me like I should write
We
down
tell
my
you it's
ideas?
live.
Yeah. It's the test stream.
we put like a tape over it, so you don't know.
Right. So,
The microphone's off.
my friends used to tell me like to write down my crazy ideas. I'm like, no, because if someone finds that journal, like if I
Yeah,
die,
you'll never
they-
work again.
Right.
Correct.
It's like American Psycho when they find this journal.
My
There is
God.
no catharsis.
What's happening in chat?
They're talking about how sexy I am.
That's
Right.
incorrect.
How they want to see a Matt Chase stream only.
Snake Doc, that's brave. That's a bold choice, Cotton. I guess we'll see if that pays off. He says, so Snake Doc says, that they are former army and they tend to expose their kids to far more than this conversation.
Let the boy watch.
That's right. I remember we were having a chat one night or one time on a stream and you mentioned being former army. I remember that now. What stream were we watching? What stream was on when we were talking about that, Snake Doc? Try to
Sounded like Christopher Walken. What stream were we watching?
What stream were we watching?
Watching? Yeah, it has to sound like a question, like the words are questions.
Each word is a question.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm the worst.
So.
And then food. Because I'm hungry.
Oh, Kyle just instills existential dread into his children. Boofing is the last thing that he's worried about.
They're going to be boofing NyQuil.
What is this? Kids, boof your NyQuil. I want some peace and quiet.
Before you go to bed, Daddy wants some peace and quiet.
Kids, get to your boofing your NyQuil.
This is quality here. What are we doing with our streams?
What has happened? What is any of this? Oh my God.
Well, I think that's about.
I
time to
think
call it a-
we're done here.
Yeah.
We're done here.
That's a good note to end out.
I think
Hang
so.
on.
I'm
Let's
out
see
of
you
wine.
two,
We need to go open a new bottle, and I need to make dinner. So,
Stick around to watch Lizard Plays Divinity.
yeah, love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And are Wonky Pyro? Are you guys just about ready? We're gonna end here.
They'll be ready sooner.
But
rather
yeah,
than later.
hang around because the two of them playing leads to some fun deaths for sure.
Yeah, they're pretty funny when they play together.
I love the moments where it's like, make sure you save so that we don't, and then everybody dies immediately afterwards.
Pretty great.
It's a lot of fun. Anyway, we love you all. And don't forget to stick around for Lizard Plays in just a few moments. And tomorrow I will be playing on variant roles with, you saw the earlier in chat, CrimeNat was here. He will be DMing tomorrow, and we're going to fight mind flayers in space. And it is epic and awesome and wonderful. So pay attention to that. 1 p.m. Central Time.
I will be on So Chatty with Maddie with the creator of the game called Capers,
Ooh.
and Glenn
fun.
Campbell, I think his name is Craig Campbell.
Craig
And
Campbell. I think it's
Craig
Craig.
Campbell, yeah. And the host Maddie and DCS Smurf, and so we'll be chatting about weird
Fun.
stuff, and then we're playing Retroverse after. That starts I think 7 p.m. Eastern, and then later we'll play Retroverse. So just go to Maddie Games' thing and check it out. There's a graphic, or go to my Twitter and check it out. I shared it.
And also maybe you could post it in our Discord.
Yep.
Let's ooh. I know.
Check
Let's use
that
this
out.
fancy new fancy
I'll
new
post
bot
it in
that we've
Discord
got
later
going on.
and chat with us there. And that's all. That's all for tonight, folks.
That's all, folks. Have a
Enjoy
good
Lizard
one.
Plays.
We love you.
Bye. Like a bear waving goodbye.
Yeah. You are a bear.
Correct.
And 3, 2, 1. Later, witches.
You really flipped off. You actually flipped off the camera. Why?